Claude, you have to climb around the tail and wings of those big Boeing clippers?
Aren't they the biggest things?
Seems to me what Pan American Airways needs is a man on the flying trapeze to do the sort of jobs you described.
Oh, there's ways and means of doing everything. I'm finding that out, Dad.
Make way! Teddy Barbour reporting.
Well, advance and give the countersign.
The countersign, Major Barbour, is soups on.
Ah, that's the most appetizing countersign in many a day. What are the orders of the day?
Well, the orders from the kitchen, sir, are to get yourself in readiness to storm the breakfast room. The immediate object is to take the breakfast table, loaded down with sausage and hotcakes.
A worthy military objective in anybody's language.
Further information states that Second Lieutenant Jack Barbour and family are advancing through the neighboring hedge, and that immediate action is indicated.
Teddy, you sound like you were studying to be a whack at least.
Jack and Betty are on their way over?
Uh-huh. Are you folks all ready to sit down to the table?
Not only ready, but willing and able.
You know, Paul, you never had such a good appetite as you have now.
Is that good?
Oh, it's perfect. I was just thinking...
Hey, where's everybody?
Oh, there he is. In the library, Jack.
Hi, Dad.
Come on.
Hello, Paul.
Hi.
Hey, Mom says, why isn't everybody down at the breakfast table?
Hey, aren't you going to speak to your sister?
I don't speak to sisters. I kiss them.
Oh, the Marines kiss gooey, don't they?
All servicemen do. Their mouths water so at the sight of a pretty girl they can't help it.
Is that your daughter you've got under your arm?
Oh, yeah. Hey, she called me Daddy this morning.
Oh.
She did, too. Come on, honey. Say Dad for me. Oh, come on, say it. Hey, you see?
What is that?
Elizabeth Sharon Ann called me Daddy.
Daddy.
Okay, just a cynical group of civilians. Civilians don't believe in anything anymore.
Marines do.
Doggone right. A Marine's got plenty of ideals, and what's more, he's got the brawn and the guts and the know to put them over. Okay, Sharon, I won't say another word. Okay, Mom, we're coming.
Well, you'd better. I'll throw the whole thing in the refuse pail.
Goodness, if I eat another nibble of sausage, I'll burst seams in every direction.
Mom, you're a success.
Oh, am I indeed?
I never ate a better breakfast anywhere.
In fact, I've never eaten a better meal anywhere.
Yes. Well, that's one thing your mother can still do. Cook.
What do you mean, one thing?
I wouldn't want you on my softball nine.
Oh, come on, Jack. You're not finished yet. We'll have another hot cake.
Okay, I will if you will.
Oh, Jack, you can't.
The heck I can't. Woman, since I've joined the Marines, I've acquired capacity.
Man with the rubber stomach, huh, Jack?
And the digestion of a buzzard. Betty, your soggy cakes and 2-pound biscuits wouldn't faze me now.
Well, I like that.
No kidding. I've got iron rollers and little sharp knives down there where my digestive apparatus used to be, and nothing gives me pause.
Eat your way through an all-night Roman feast, huh?
No kidding. And come back next morning for breakfast.
Nice, fresh, made-to-order hot cakes.
Oh, Jack, how can you?
Hey, Teddy, you're going to eat a couple of these with me, aren't you?
Who, me? Well, I'm only the cook.
Paul?
Oh, look at me, my boy.
Well, you're an old serviceman. Seems to me you should be doing better by your victuals than you do.
I do quite well, thank you.
Or don't majors need as much to sustain them as second lieutenants? Dad, you'll keep me company, won't you?
Don't let me deprive you of them, boy.
What the heck? There's 5 of them here. I could spare a couple.
No, thank you, Lieutenant. No, thank you.
Go on, Jack. Eat them while they're hot.
Well, okay. And all you sit and watch me. I'll show you what a hungry man does with food.
Golly, I like everything about you, Jack. Even your appetite.
Oh.
Well, hello, everybody.
Huh?
Hey, Cliff and Irene are here already.
Well, good for Cliff and Irene.
In the breakfast room, Cliff.
Don't be silly. Irene and I could smell those hotcakes and sausages there out in the driveway.
What an aroma the Barbour menage must be giving off.
Hiya, family.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Mother Barbour.
My, it's good to see you, Irene, child. The Clifford Barbour's up bright and early.
Oh, you're doggone right. We milked the bossy cows and nothing flat this AM. Here we are. Hiya, Jack, old pal, old kiddo, second lieutenant.
Doggone good. How about sitting down and swallowing a hot cake with me?
Oh, don't mind if I do.
Bring on another plate, Teddy.
Another plate coming right up.
How about you, Irene?
Oh, golly, no. I had one breakfast already.
Sit down here, child. At least you'll have a cup of coffee.
Oh, yes. Hello, Betty.
Hi, Irene.
Goodness, Father Barbour, you look alive this morning.
Huh? Is that supposed to be a compliment?
Oh, sure it is. I don't know when I've seen you look so smug and self-satisfied.
Huh?
You look exactly like a quotation I used to have hanging in my room. It said, God bless our happy home.
Yes. And that's exactly how I feel this morning. God bless our happy
Here
home.
you are, Cliff. Stack of hot.
Oh, man, when you look at those hotcakes.
Modicum of butter, Clifford.
Amen, brother, amen.
And a soup song of maple syrup, perhaps?
Pour it on, son, pour it on. Soup song and all.
Cliff, you and Jack make the finest team of big feeders I've seen in many a day.
Who wouldn't be a big feeder with this kind of food?
Sausage, Cliff?
Slap it on the plate, Teddy. Stand on no ceremony.
Cliff, for goodness sake.
What's the matter, Irene?
The way you go with that food, you're going to give your family the idea I don't feed you.
Oh, no, don't get that idea. Irene throws me a bone every once in a while.
Well, that's not fair. Irene's one of the best cooks in the Barbour family.
Oh, are you telling me? Last night she whipped out one of the widest and tallest and tastiest raisin cakes with boiled frosting a man ever sunk his teeth into.
Then why not give the girl credit?
Oh, I tell her how good she is all the time. I've got to break the monotony once in a while.
Huh? Having the man you love telling you how good you are never gets monotonous to me.
Not to me either. It never gets monotonous to any woman.
Uh-huh. I think that one of the worst things about Jack being away is not having him here to say what a gorgeous creature I am every once in so often.
But I write it in my letters.
So that was the same as having it said with your eyes and with the touch of your hand and all that.
There are a lot of women in the world today who know what you mean, Betty. A lot of us.
Oh, yes.
How much longer have you got on furlough?
Off again next Thursday.
Yes. Leaving is the worst part.
Oh, but it's worth it. Even 1 minute would have been worth the parting, but 12 whole days. It's been heaven. Look, I've just got the batter for 6 more hotcakes left in the bowl.
Oh, I couldn't, Teddy.
Jack?
Positively no.
Oh, letting me down.
What the heck do you think I am? A doggone bottomless pit?
Well, I can't throw them out. Somebody's got to eat them.
Okay, I'll be the goat. Fry up your 6 more hotcakes.
I'll bet you don't get them all down.
How much?
Well, I don't know. You seem awful certain.
Certainly I'm certain. The dairy rice gives men a he-man's appetite.
Just about any kind of work required of a man today produces a big appetite. That's why the country's consuming more food than ever. More men doing more active work.
Yes, that and the fact that there's something like 8 or 9 million more men working today than 10 years ago.
Yes, that's true. More people with ready money to buy food.
You know, I've just been watching you civilians. I think the boys in uniform eat on an average of twice as much as you people do. That is not counting Cliff.
Hey, Jack, tell us something about yourself, huh? Well, what'd you do to get to be a second lieutenant in the Marines?
Oh, you don't want to hear about that.
Well, the heck we don't.
Oh, yes, please.
Just a regular old boot camp grind with a lot of extra stuff thrown in.
He had to pass oodles and oodles of examinations to get his bar.
Huh? What kind of examinations?
Written tests, oral tests, physical tests, intelligence tests, everything you can think of.
And passed them all with flying colors, huh?
He was number 3 man in all his class.
Hey, Betty.
Well, you were, doggone it.
It was just for your ears, you dope.
No, sir. You're good, and I want all the world to know it.
Huh? Number 3, were you?
Yeah. It doesn't mean anything.
It does, too. It goes right on your service record.
What's going to happen to you now that you're an officer? You're finished with Quantico, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, go on and tell them. They got to know sometime.
Huh?
Jack, now, what does she mean?
Oh, Betty, you have the doggonest way of upsetting things. Now they really think something's wrong.
But, Jack,
It isn't anything really, except that now I finished at Quantico, I'm going after my curled wings.
Uh-huh. And then he's going to be stationed down at Gillespie Field near San Diego.
Hey, right here in California, huh?
Oh, that's wonderful, son. Now, just a minute. What's this curled wings business?
Those are the paramarines.
Paramarines?
Yes, the parachute contingent of the Marines.
You're to be trained as a paratrooper?
Hey, that's something.
You mean you've got to jump out of the airplanes with a parachute?
Well, look, Mom, it's one of the greatest honors that a Marine can have. To be chosen. There are only 2 men chosen out of each class at Quantico.
Uh-huh. And out of all those who volunteered for paramarine training, Jack was selected as one of the 2.
Well, do you like the idea, Betty?
I'm so proud of him I could die. He's wonderful to do it.
But what in the world ever made you volunteer for such service, Jack?
It's one of the toughest branches of the service there is, Dad. I set out to see if I couldn't make it when I first went to Quantico, and I did.
But why?
Well, look, Dad, there's 2 ways of going into the service. Either you shrug your shoulders and say, I'm in and can't help myself, so I'll just get along the best I can. That's one way. The other way is to go in with the idea that the more serious you take this war business, the more you train and work and develop yourself for the job ahead, the sooner we can lick it. Isn't that right, Paul?
Right.
Yeah, and that's the way I went at it. I had to go at it like that or just die of being bored and homesick and a misfit.
No, I think you're doing exactly right, Jack. I'm proud of you. But But why the parachute troops, Jack?
Because that was the hardest. After you've passed all the physical tests for other branches of Marine service, then you take more and harder tests for the paramarines.
If it'd been anything harder than paramarines, you'd have had to try for that, huh?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it sounds silly to a civilian.
Heck, it does.
Oh, no, we're with you, Jack. It's just that it's hard to express how glad we are to be related to her.
Oh, please, I don't want you to feel that way. Really, I don't. It wasn't bravery or cockiness or anything like that. It was just a hard job to do, and somebody's got to do it, and I didn't feel I could pass it up if they'd take me.
Yes. Good boy.
Gee, fella, I'm glad for you. I mean, that you made it.
Yeah.
You say you're going to be down at Camp Gillespie?
Yeah, there are 2 training camps for paramarines, Camp Gillespie, California, and New River, North Carolina. I thought for a while I was going to draw New River.
But you didn't. Now when you get some time off, you can come home.
And there's no reason why you can't come down to camp once in a while.
How long's the course?
5 weeks.
Do you know anything about the training?
Not much. You get lots of hardening up training. They teach you more and more judo. That's the old jiu-jitsu wrestling. And I know we start our training jumping in captive parachutes from towers.
Oh, yes. I've seen some of it in newsreels.
Uh-huh. The 5th week, the new recruits make 6 jumps from planes.
At the end of 4 weeks, you start jumping from planes?
Yeah. And after the 6th jump, you get your inseam, the curled wings.
Uh-huh. And then he's a full-fledged paramarine. Golly. And after that?
One of 2 things will happen.
Huh?
Yes, Dad. Active service, which I'm hoping for, or I'll be held to one of the camps to help train other recruits.
Active service where, son?
Haven't the faintest idea, Mom. You know, Paul, one of the most interesting things about paramarines is that the officers are really line officers. In the air, you're a paratrooper, but once you hit the ground, you take over just like you were in the front lines of the battle.
And you mean front lines?
Uh-huh.
Golly, I can hardly wait for Winston to get here.
Uh-huh. What brought that up?
Huh? So I can tell him what a gorgeous man he's got for a father?
Oh, Betty.
Well, I think so. And I'm going to teach every one of our 7 sons and daughters to think so, too.
Huh? 7 sons and daughters?
Yes, Dad. You didn't know it, but you're going to be the grandfather to, what are their names?
Elizabeth Sharon Ann and Marie Antoinette and Mary Fanny for the girls. And Winston, Paul, David, and John for the boys. Oh, goodness, you are looking into the future, aren't you? Well, I always say there can't ever be too many children in the family when they've got a father like Jack to be proud of.
Oh, boy, have you got a reputation to live up to.
And Jack's just the man who can do it, too.
You can, huh?
Doggone right.
It looks as if Clifford really put his foot into it this time. During a family chat, he referred to women as the weaker sex and immediately brought down upon his head the combined indignation of Hazel and Claudia.
Weaker sex indeed. How can you say such a thing, Clifford Barbour? Why, women are doing even better at some men's jobs these days than men themselves.
Yes, all they needed was a chance to show what they could do. I'm really surprised that you're being so old-fashioned, Clifford.
Hey, now lay off. I didn't originate the phrase. I was only quoting.
Oh, by the way, who did originate that term, weaker sex? Some man, I suppose.
Well, I don't know exactly, but Shakespeare came pretty close to it in Hamlet. Frailty, thy name is woman.
Yes, and wasn't it that very gallant gentleman, Lord Chesterfield, who said women are to be talked to as below men and above children?
Yes, but thank goodness all men aren't that blind. One of the nicest tributes to women I know of was written by a man. Matthew Henry, I think. I don't know all of it. Do you, Paul?
You mean the one about woman was made of a rib?
Mm-hmm, that's the one. Can you quote it?
Maybe I can remember it. The woman was made of a rib out of the side of Adam, not out of his feet to be trampled upon by him, but out of his side to be equal with him, under his arm to be protected, and near his heart to be loved.
Oh, I like that, Paul. Do you have a copy of it someplace?
Yeah, remind me later. I'll look it up for you. Oh, and maybe you'd like this one, also written by a man, John Van Brugh. Whilst there is a world, 'tis woman that will govern it.
Well, maybe so, but doggone it, I just hope women won't ever forget that their real worlds are their homes and family.
Well, don't worry about that, Clifford. Even though many of today's women are doing a man's job and doing it as well as any man, a woman's first and most important job will always be the proper feeding and care of her family. And she's doing that job well, too. For instance, today, when it's so much more difficult to plan nourishing, well-balanced meals, you'll find many wise women depending on Fleischmann's fresh yeast to help add extra vitamins to their family's diets. You see, Fleischmann's fresh yeast with the yellow label is the only one on the market with both vitamin B complex and added amounts of vitamins A and D. Those are the vitamins, you know, which are essential to our good health and well-being. So if you or other members of your family need extra vitamins, give Fleischmann's 7-day vitamin pickup a chance to help you. Just take 2 cakes of Fleischmann's yeast every day for 7 days straight. You should notice real benefits in just that short time. And for a really pleasant way to take yeast, drink a delicious vitamin cocktail, Fleischmann's yeast in cool milk, water, or tomato juice. Yes, drink it, America. To your health. You have just heard Chapter 4, Book 46 of One Man's Family, written and produced by Carlton E. Morse for the makers of Fleischmann's yeast. Chapter 5, entitled Another Weekend at the Dairy Ranch, will come to you next week at this same hour.
Next time you buy puddings, ladies, ask for R-O-Y-A-L, Royal Puddings. Serve a smooth, rich, delicious Royal Pudding tomorrow and find out for yourself why women from coast to coast buy more Royal Puddings than any other kind. One Man's Family comes to you from California. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
One Man's Family, brought to you by the makers of Chase and Sanborn Coffee and Fleischmann's Yeast. One Man's Family is dedicated to the mothers and fathers of the younger generation and to their bewildering offspring. Today we present Chapter 14, Book 64, entitled New Year's Eve with the Barbour Clan. Well, it's New Year's Eve in the Barbour family home out in Seacliff on the edge of San Francisco Bay. Therefore, naturally, it would be New Year's Eve out on the jungle edge of Accra on the African Gold Coast. And that's where Paul is and Nicolette Moore. Not quite prisoners, but certainly under cover, while Paul is recovering from head and back injuries received when their hotel cottage was dynamited. A gruff, non-communicative individual has seen that they were fed, given medical attention, and kept out of sight for 2 weeks now. The rooms they occupy are low, dark, and seem to be part of a larger structure, all of which is included in a walled compound of high, sharp-pointed bamboo stakes. Paul is on his feet for the first time since his injury.
You see? You walk as well as you ever did.
Yeah, I walk, and that's about all.
But that is proof you have no serious damage anywhere. You are a very fortunate fellow, Paul Barbour.
Well, I made it from the bed to the chair, anyway.
And tomorrow you'll make it from the bed to the compound, and presently you...
Nicolette.
Yes?
There's been no word from outside, from Kirby, the American consul.
How is it possible? No one supposedly knows where we are.
You don't even know that the Christmas message got through to the family, do you?
No, Paul. All I could do was give the message to Richardson, and he said he would do his best.
Richardson? Who and what is Richardson, anyway?
He feeds us. He gives us medical attention. He gives us refuge and shelter.
He also guards us. Nicolette, are you sure we're not Richardson's prisoners?
All I know is that he has treated us with consideration. He has said that when you are fit to travel, he will point our faces in the right direction.
I heard him. Right direction for what?
To complete our mission, I should think.
I'm Patricia Baldwin. The United States government puts me on the trail of Patricia Baldwin, and what do? Get myself blown up in Accra, Africa. Laid up for 2 whole weeks.
Martin Whitehead died with a knife in his throat. The little Englishman died also with a bullet in him. You are still alive.
That's not the point. Patricia Baldwin is still at large. For all I know, disposed of once and for all. Because I wasn't fast enough on my feet or smart enough.
You think it will save the situation to sit here on New Year's Eve and bemoan fate? You think that will help?
Nicolette, did I dream it, or did I hear Richardson say he didn't know why the United States wanted Patricia Baldwin so badly? Unless for the dubious pleasure of executing her?
Yes, he said that.
Doesn't make sense. Patricia Baldwin was a Red Cross nurse. She was kidnapped here in Accra by agents in some sort of international intrigue.
Do we know that?
Well, she was either kidnapped or she left the ship of her own free will.
Is that so impossible?
Well, that would indicate that she was guilty of something. That she was running away and the United States government is after her.
Well?
Well, from what we know, Patricia Baldwin, do you see her as a traitress? A young, eager American girl who'd dedicated her life to Red Cross nursing?
Yes, I know, but Europe is so full of poison today. The moral standards have fallen to an ugly level. Patricia Baldwin was young, unsophisticated.
Are you trying to tell me that the girl was inoculated with some of this European rottenness?
I am only saying that stranger, more wicked things than that are happening right today.
I don't like it.
Does it make any difference to us? We have a job of finding the girl and turning her over to the government. Does it matter whether we are turning her in as an innocent girl or a scheming woman?
The chase has lost some of its zest.
Oh, my idealistic American friend. Don't you Americans ever stop dreaming of utopia? Of valiant, pure-hearted knights and beautiful, chaste maidens?
The world simply can't be any better than the rotten, selfish, miserable, diseased minds who live in it, can it?
Did you think it could?
I suppose I should have known better, but I believed, because I wanted to believe, that the honest and the earnest and the true would be a force against evil so great and so unyielding that goodness and happiness and peace would sometime flood the earth.
Perhaps sometime it will.
But not in our lifetime.
No.
Not in the lifetime of my brother's children or my sister's children.
What about you? Did you purposely have no children of your own because you envisioned what lay ahead?
No.
No, you did not see ahead?
No, it was simply the girl who I wanted to give me those children died in that first world holocaust.
The First World War?
Yeah.
I had never heard.
I was an American flyer in France. She was an American Army nurse. We met in a frontline hospital. We were married by an old French priest in a little church whose roof had been blown off by a German field piece. 2 weeks later, an epidemic swept through the hospital like a fire in a grass field.
She was gone before you hardly knew her.
What kind of talk is this for New Year's Eve?
That is hard. Very hard. But at least you did not have to watch the one you loved stood up against a wall before a firing squad.
Nicolette.
That, too, is finished. Oh, visitors.
Richardson, come in.
Queer. I'll go and see. Oh, what is it?
What is it?
Just a minute, Paul. I'll be right back in.
What's that about? New Year's Eve, 47. 1917. 30 years ago. 30? And in those years I've seen with my own eyes a whole continent explode, with civilization crumbling around the edges. I've seen... Here, give me a piece of paper and a pencil. This is the voice of Europe. And his voice was the voice of Europe. And his words came to say...
Today, right now, before New Year's, you get improved Chase and Sanborn coffee. This new blend is the most satisfying coffee you ever tasted, so taste it now. You'll hear it being praised to the skies. One man said that first swallow is like getting money from home. Or you may hear experienced shoppers say the new Chase and Sanborn is the richest, most flavorful coffee money can buy today. What they're all really saying is, taste it. That's the only way you'll ever know how delicious this new blend is. The possibilities of finer coffees are only now fully realized. It's a new coffee experience, an inspired new combination of richer, more flavorful coffees. And the flavor is fully protected at its best and freshest. The new Chase and Sanborn, with all its added flavor, is quickly vacuum-packed as soon as it's roasted. No other container in the world can give you so much coffee goodness. So taste it. Ask for improved Chase and Sanborn. the new coffee sensation. And while Paul sat in the jungle hideout writing feverishly and waiting Nicolette Moore's return, back in Seacliff, San Francisco, it's also New Year's Eve. Over at Jack and Betty's house just across the hedge, those two are holding special open house for the younger generation. Joan and Penny and Skippy are there from the Nicholas Lacey household, Hank, Pinky, and Margaret from the Daniel Murray menage, and then the special adolescent friends of the neighborhood. That's what's going on across the hedge, while at the family home, all the adults are present. Yes, even the cousin Jediah.
I think it was New Year's Eve of 98.
97, Henry.
Huh?
We were on my father's farm the New Year's of 97.
I was at Nome, Alaska at 97.
Well, there Fanny and I were out in the cow pasture with no gate in sight anywhere.
Maybe it was 98.
And how you do hate cows, Father.
Well, I said to your mother, I'll do the brave thing. I'll walk behind you and protect you from the rear.
That was 98, all right. Coldest 98 in the memory of man.
Well, that was the manly thing to do, Dad. Always protect a lady from the rear.
But what about the danger from ahead? She's got eyes to see what lies ahead. It's the rear that's open to ambush.
That's the coldest 98 in the memory of man.
Well, fortunately, I'm not afraid of cows myself.
I'm not afraid of cows. Well, not exactly afraid. It's just that cows and I are not compatible.
Not many cows in Alaska.
Huh?
Not many cows in Alaska. Too cold.
Oh, so there are thousands of cattle in Alaska.
Too cold. They freeze.
But go on with your bucolic New Year's Eve saga of 97, Father Barbours. Well, we'd simply gone for a walk on Fanny's home farm, and here we were, completely surrounded by a 5-foot barbed wire fence in a cow pasture.
It was the first time I ever saw Henry unnerved.
Just on my toes, alert to danger.
But at that moment, there wasn't even a cow in sight.
Cows freeze solid. Well, that's Alaska for you.
Not a cow in sight, and yet you burst into a sweat.
Sweat freezes?
Only the palms of my hands.
Palms of your hands freezes?
What are you talking about, Cousin Jediah?
Alaska.
But Dad and Mom are talking about an experience with cows.
Cows freeze solid.
Not cows in Alaska, Cousin Jediah.
Hardly any cows in Alaska. Too cold.
Stuff and nonsense.
Hardly a cow in Alaska.
You'd be surprised, Cousin Jediah. Nicky and I took a trip up there one time, and we saw oodles of cattle.
Let's see, you're Claudia Margaret.
Well, I still want to hear the end of Dad and Mom's adventure with the cows.
Forget it.
Oh, hey, Dad.
Forget it. It isn't worthwhile trying to compete against a certain windbag I could mention.
Well, lots of wind in Alaska. Lots of wind.
There's lots of wind a good deal closer than Alaska.
Now, Henry, don't get grumpy.
Yes, don't get grumpy, Hank.
Huh?
Nice man like you should never get grumpy. No, become you.
Is that so?
Mighty few men improved by a case of the grumps.
Brother Barbour, not to change the subject, but I don't know when I've seen a more beautiful buffet table.
Thank you, Nicholas.
Sumptuous fare, rare viands.
Nonsense, Nicholas. Just a good, healthy snack for around midnight.
I insist. Rare and toothsome delicacies. A gourmet's delight and a gourmand's ecstasy.
Oh, Nicky, you're wonderful.
Claudia Margaret, what's the man talking about?
Hey, just plain Claudia, Cousin Jediah.
Dangerous using big words like that.
Oh, really?
I know the man once got a big word caught in his windpipe.
Ah, fiddle.
Got the big word caught in his windpipe.
Larynx or epiglottis?
Laughing matter, the poor fellow choked to death.
Didn't they call a doctor?
What good's a doctor?
Well, if I had anything caught in my throat, I'd want a physician.
What good's a physician?
Oh, no?
What good's a surgeon?
I see your point, Cousin Jediah. The only person who could extract a big word caught in your throat would be a lexicographer, naturally.
Naturally, that. What was that again, Nicholas?
Lexicographer. Lexicographer.
Coldest 48 in Alaska in the memory of man.
There you are, Dan. Where have you been?
Not getting a smell of this New Year's Eve?
Getting one last look at 1947, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Old Father 47's turning over a beautiful night, the young 48.
48, the coldest year.
Hey, wait a minute.
You speaking to me, Clifford?
98, not 48.
Coldest year in Alaska in the memory of man.
Don't tell me you're on the subject of Alaska again, Cousin Jediah.
Coldest
Cousin
year.
Jediah, I've got a question.
Gladly, gladly.
Let's you and me go out and get one last sniff of the old year before it's too late.
Gladly, gladly.
Okay, come on.
You mean get up out of this chair?
Sure, you don't expect to feel the cold air on your cheek and look up at the glitter of stars from in front of the fire, do you?
You know, Fanny, you should have a rocking chair in this room.
You think so?
A rocking chair does something for a person.
Well, are you coming with me or aren't you?
Gladly, gladly.
Well, I'm on my feet. Come on.
Hank, you should ought to have Fanny put in a rocking chair.
Oh, you're an old fraud. You had no intention of going out and making a last wish on the stars for 47. Nicky, come on, you come.
Rather, with pleasure.
What are you folks in a little while?
Just working on an appetite, Mother Barbour.
Fanny, Claudia Margaret's a young girl.
What's that?
Claudia Margaret's a young girl. Dangerous to let a young girl out of your sight in the garden on a cold night. Dangerous. Girl doesn't wear much.
Cousin Jedediah on women's clothes.
First thing, she gets cold. Shivers. Man puts his arm around her.
Huh? What are you talking about?
Man puts his arm around her, warms her up a little. One thing leads to another, and the next thing you know, she's married.
Claudia's already married.
Next thing you know, you've lost a daughter.
Didn't you hear me say that, Claudia?
Next thing you know, you're a grandfather.
I already am, 10 times over. Where are you going, Cousin Jedediah?
Dangerous out in the garden on a cold night. Claudia Margaret's a young girl.
Don't you realize? Let him go, Father Barbour. That's wonderful. Going out to protect Claudia from her husband. Sometimes he doesn't show enough sense to pound sand in a rat hole.
Oh, he's intelligent enough. It's just that he doesn't listen.
Yeah, he's so absorbed in his own thoughts, he never hears what anyone else says.
Unless he's not supposed to hear.
Oh, have you had that experience?
I'm afraid we have. Your father was talking to Judge Hunter on the phone about some minor change in his will. And Jedediah didn't miss a word.
Well, we'll riddle him for a moment, so we have to spend the precious minutes talking about him.
Oh, while I was outside, I could see and hear across the hedge Jack and Betty's. Is that place bouncing?
What's the younger generation up to?
Oh, some of everything. I could see Margaret and some of the smaller fry in the kitchen pulling taffy.
Oh, so Betty finally decided on a taffy pull.
Uh-huh. At the front of the house, the door suddenly popped open, and out came a young lady full tilt with Pinky hard on her heels.
Oh, Dan, not a rough house.
I don't think so. I lost him in the shadow of the hedge, but I think it was more like an excuse for getting out from under Jack and Betty's eyes for a quick smooch.
Hey, if only Cousin Jedediah realized what was going on next door.
I don't know whether I'm amused or not.
A typical mother.
Oh, relax, Hazel. Lasted only for a count of 10, and then they dashed back into the house.
Sure, pretending all the time it was a chase, and Pinky never caught up with his delicious prey.
It's been going on since Adam and Eve.
Well, Henry, when did you all of a sudden become so sanguine?
Huh? Boy chase girl. Girl slow down, so boy will be sure to catch up. Girl pretends struggle at being caught. Girl pretends helpless surrender. But girl responsible for whole sadness.
Goodness, such cynicism on New Year's Eve.
Speaking of New Year's Eve, I wonder what Paul's doing tonight.
I wonder.
He's in some far-off place in the world, I bet.
We have no real reason to think so.
Oh, I think we have, Father Barbour.
What do you mean, Daniel?
Well, last week's cablegram indicated he was across an ocean. Also, the fact that it was strictly censored indicates it's from out of the country.
Yes, I suppose so.
Did I tell you that I received a letter from Teddy and a New Year's card from Beth Holly?
Beth Holly? For goodness sake. How long has it been since we heard from her?
Well, she said 3 years in her card.
Oh, longer than that. Beth Holly. Where is she?
Down in Hollywood. Doing very well in some capacity with one of the picture studios.
Oh, an actress?
Well, she didn't say.
Would you say you had a letter from Teddy?
Yes, it was really to Henry.
I was wondering if you were going to take all the credit.
All right, my dear. You tell what she said.
Just that she wished you were back in the United States and that there wasn't going to be much of a Christmas or New Year's in Germany.
Oh, she said much more than that.
Yeah, oh, she said there wasn't going to be much for holiday season in any of the European countries.
Well, aren't you going to tell about her being made ward superintendent in the hospital? And that one of the young nurses, a Patricia somebody, had an emergency appendectomy and was sent home, and she disappeared on the way home.
Just gossip. We didn't know the girl.
Patricia Baldwin, that was it.
You mean an American nurse just vanished on her way home from Germany?
Well, Teddy didn't seem to know any details.
But how wonderful for her to have been made a superintendent.
Glad we got all those packages off before Christmas.
Oh, yes. Well, what's happened to Claudia and Nicky? Family, do you know what just happened to Nicky and me out in the garden?
Cousin Jedediah. He caught me with my arm around Claudia. He yanked me away and he shook his fingers under my nose.
He said, young fella, just what I expected. Claudia Barbour's a virtuous young girl. And if she's cold, let her come in the house and back up to the fire.
Yes, one of these days, somebody's going to have to invite him to keep his nose out of other people's business.
Well, did you finally get over the idea that you were Claudia's husband and father of her children?
Well, we told him, sir, but he was so busy telling us about how arms around the waist led to one thing and another. In the end, we'd end up not only parents, but grandparents.
Oh, here he comes now.
I caught them just like I thought I would. I caught them in the very act.
Jediah, listen to me.
Gladly.
Claudia and Nicholas are married. They are man and wife.
No.
Man and wife.
No.
Cousin Jediah, what's that telegram in your hand?
What? It's telegram. Oh, it's not. It's a cablegram. A New Year's message from Paul. Found it on the doorstep. Let's see. It's to the whole family. Dear Mother and Dad and family, the world doesn't know nor care that a new year is being born here where I am. I know you're all gathered as usual, and my spirit's with you. Love to you all, from your brother and son, if it ever gets through the censors. Paul Barbour.
For it is unto you that we turn. Blessed be America forever and ever, and may her freedom become our freedom in the days to come.
Paul, something is going to happen tonight. Oh, you are writing a letter?
No, not a letter. What do you mean something's going to happen?
Wait. There. I think we are being put on the trail of Patricia Baldwin.
That's great. First day out of bed.
Yes, I do not know exactly. You will have to be transported for a day or two, naturally. I don't know exactly what is happening, but Richardson said to come back here, and I think he said, be prepared.
Sounds like a Boy Scout got loose in our midst.
Here, what is that paper you have written, if it is not a letter?
Look at it if you like. I was just sitting here thinking.
But, Paul, this is poetry.
Is it?
But yes, of course. Please, I may read it.
Why not?
Yes. And his voice was an European voice. And his words came saying, how is our glory become dim? How is glory and honor and tradition changed? The stones and the mortar of our very homes are poured out into every street. The precious sons of Europe, comparable to goodness and truth, how were they esteemed as our today and our tomorrow, the work of the hands of the Creator? How are they broken and ground beneath the heel? And woe are the daughters of Europe, once so fair to look upon. Woe are they, for now their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. They are become like unto a stick. They that did feed delicately are desolate in the streets. They that were brought up in scarlet embrace bitterness and filth. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For the sins of their leaders and their politicians and the iniquities of their traitors have shed the blood of the just in the midst of all Europe. Remember, O America, what has come unto us. Consider and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens. We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. Our great men have sinned and are not, and we have borne their iniquities. Violence rules over us. There is none that doth deliver us out of its hands. We get our bread with the peril of our lives, because there is too little for too many. The women of Europe are despoiled, and the maidens in the cities of all our fallen countries. the young men have fallen low in dishonor and in shame, and the children are trampled beneath the wheels of despair. Our elders have ceased their praying, and our youth, their hoping. The joy of their hearts is ceased. Their dancing is turned into mourning. For this our heart is faint. For these things our eyes are dim. You, O America, remainest as ever, thy freedom from generation to generation. Wherefore dost thou forget us forever, and forsake us so long a time? Turn thou unto us, O America, and we shall be saved. Renew our days as of old. Yea, for it is unto you that we turn. Blessed be America forever and ever, and may her freedom become our freedom in the days to come. Blessed be America forever and ever.
Well?
You sat here and wrote this in those few minutes I left you?
With the help of Lamentations, of course.
Oh, I do not know it.
I was sitting here a long way from home, thinking of America and things that reminded me of home. I knew quite a lot about Lamentations and the Psalms, among others, at one time.
I don't know from where you got your inspiration, but you have made Europe talk from the heart with these lines.
You read them from the heart. I'd forgotten what a good platform speaker you were before you got...
There. That is it.
That's what?
I will see. Oh, you came quickly.
Who is it, Nicolette?
The secret airplane to where? Istanbul? Paul, he says a secret airplane to Istanbul is ready.
Is Patricia Baldwin in the capital of Turkey?
They promised to point our faces in the right direction. Istanbul points toward Europe.
Yeah, and a certain iron curtain.
Due to bow in this week, Clifford produces a book of horoscopes.
This is old Dr. Barbour's Prognostications and Almanac, 1948 edition.
Here, here.
I must say it looks like a big year for the Sagittarius people, with Scorpio and Leo coming in for a big chunk of good fortune, too.
Wonderful. When is this slather of riches due to be for?
Oh, good start tonight. Certainly no later than tomorrow.
What about Pisces?
Pisces. Here it is, Pisces. You are going to receive the surprise of your life when you taste the new Chase and Sanborn coffee. It's so greatly improved that it's the most satisfying coffee you ever tasted.
Well, I'll say that's the most accurate horoscope I've ever heard.
Yes, sir. Now, let's take Taurus, Cancer, and Gemini. You are from Missouri. You have to be shown. You invented the phrase, the proof of the pudding. The proof of the flavor in this new blend is the tasting thereof. So taste Chase and Sanborn now.
Are Capricornus and Aquarius people excluded from this new coffee experience?
Oh, not by a long shot. Why, Capricornus tells Aquarius, the new Chase and Sanborn is the richest, most flavorful coffee money can buy. Virgo, Libra, and Aries people say, taste it now.
By Jove, I think I shall. Will you join me, Pisces, Leo, Gemini?
Yes, sir. There's a big new flavor thrill for everybody in the new improved Chase and Sanborn. It's coffee 1948 here right now. Taste it. You get more flavor from finer coffees at its best and freshest in the vacuum pack. It's something new in your coffee cup, so don't miss out. Ask your grocer for Chase and Sanborn, the amazing new coffee sensation. You've just heard Chapter 14, Book 64 of One Man's Family, written and produced under the direction of Carlton E. Morse for the makers of Chase and Sanborn Coffee and Fleischmann's Yeast. The opening chapter of Book 65, entitled The Dying Fires of Europe, will come to you next week at this same hour. What's new on the bread plate for 1948? Well, we all like a change. Sweet rolls today, Parker House rolls tomorrow, coffee ring for breakfast, delicious dessert bread for dinner. If you bake at home, use Fleischmann's yeast for an almost endless variety of good things, and every bite delicious. Fleischmann's yeast is nature's own little wonder worker. It transforms dough into food, brings it to life, gives it tempting, tasty appetite appeal. Yes, Fleischmann's yeast glorifies all the other ingredients, brings out their flavor, gives you home baking results you can always be proud of. Use Fleischmann's yeast as your right-hand helper in the daily task of pleasing the family. Get that sincerest of all compliments, the call for another roll, another bun, all around the table. You can depend upon Fleischmann's every time for fast, sure-rising action, for lightness, even texture, and delicious flavor in everything you bake. Always ask your grocer for Fleischmann's yeast, the favorite for 80 years. One Man's Family comes to you from California.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
One Man's Family is dedicated to the mothers and fathers of the younger generation and to their bewildering offspring. Tonight we present Chapter 9, Book 54, entitled Lieutenant Jack Barbour Leaves for the Pacific. There comes a time in every show when the best way to tell a story is to let the audience behind the scenes, and I think this is one of those times. As those of you who've listened to One Man's Family throughout the years know, the character of Jack Barbour is played by Page Gilman, now Lieutenant Page Gilman of the United States Army Field Artillery. That is why the character of Jack has been on the show so infrequently the last 2 years, because Lieutenant Gilman has been stationed at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, just as Jack Barbour has been at Fort Sill all these months. And now, suddenly, everything has changed. Lieutenant Gilman is being shipped out to the Pacific. He's home on leave this week, and that makes it possible for us to have the character of Jack home with the family one more time before he takes up his military duties on the other side of the world. Lieutenant Gilman was 13 years old when he first came into One Man's Family. That was 13 years ago. And believe me when I say that to us on the show, his going away is the same as sending out our own son and brother. That is the story behind the story of tonight's broadcast. And now a little family confab with Father and Mother Barbour and some of their family.
Of course, royal desserts taste more delicious. Didn't 8 out of every 10 say so?
Right you are, Grandmother. That's exactly what happened when 1,526 women told why they always want royal. Say, I've got an idea. How about a little survey of our own right here in the Barbour family? What's your choice, Grandmother?
Royal desserts, of course.
Grandfather?
Yes. Royal desserts taste more delicious.
Uncle Paul?
Well, I'll take royal.
Mom?
I agree with what 8 out of every 10 said. Royal desserts taste more delicious.
Teddy?
Royal for me, too.
Okay, Margaret, how about it?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 out of every 10 say royal desserts taste more delicious. Royal desserts taste more delicious.
Well, there you are. I choose royal, too, and that makes it unanimous.
Yes, and see if your family doesn't agree to a man that royal desserts taste more delicious. Serve them a royal dessert tomorrow, one of those swell royal puddings, perhaps. Smooth, creamy-textured, flavorful. Or a tangy, tempting royal gelatin dessert. No matter what kind, what flavor, if it's royal, they'll love it. When Lieutenant Jack Barbour suddenly dropped in on his family night before last and said he was headed for active duty in the Pacific and that he had just 48 hours leave, his family closed in about him like the arms of a mother about a small child. The desire to do something for him, to be something to him, to help sustain him in preparation for this new adventure was overwhelming. But as the hours went by and they found him relaxed, cheerful, and confident, then everyone else began to relax and the household was back to normal again. And now it's time for him to go. Almost time. An Army Jeep is to pick him up in front of the house at 4:30. It's 4:10 now. In the last 20 minutes at home, he's trying to have a little private conversation with each member of his family. Just at the moment, he's up in his mother's sewing room with her.
Oh, it's too bad Cliff and Irene couldn't get down from the Sky Ranch today.
Skippy's got the influenza.
Oh, sure. I said goodbye to them last night when they were here. It's okay.
Where's Betty?
She's in the nursery prettying up the 3 daughters. She says she wants the last glimpse of my family to be something extra special.
Betty's a good wife, Jack.
Yeah.
A devoted wife and a good daughter-in-law.
It's working out all right having her and the children here with you and Dad?
It would be a very lonesome house without her.
I'm glad you feel that way. Mom, about my going out to the Pacific.
Yes, Jack?
What's that you're doing?
Just a little needlework.
What you used to call fancy work?
Yes.
Well, what I started to say is you can be very comfortable about it because it's the thing I want to do most.
Yes, I know.
I'm going out to do something I know how to do, and I'm confident I can do it well. It's cost the government between $20,000 and $25,000 to educate me to do this job. Out of sheer desire to prove that I'm now capable of functioning as I've been trained, I want to go.
Yes, my dear?
Maybe you think it's reckless and unthinking to look at it that way. Maybe you think I'm not considering Betty and the children enough.
No, Jack, I don't think that.
Oh, I rather expected that you would.
No, son. Because if you didn't feel the way you do, who would there be to fight the war? If young men your age didn't have that outlook, this nation would be in a sorry fix today.
Mom, you're amazing.
Am I?
You know what's funny? You were the one I rather dreaded to talk with alone.
I understand, my dear. Mother's getting old. Mother hasn't very good control of her emotions anymore. Mother will cling to me and cry, and I won't be able to stand it.
Oh, you're wonderful, Mom.
You'll be gone a year, 2 years, maybe even 3 years.
Yes.
Your father and I won't be getting any younger.
But you'll be here when I get back.
I hope so.
You will. All of you. I want everything just as it is when I come back.
We'll try to keep it that way. Now, hadn't you better go talk to your father? See what time it is.
Yeah, I suspect I had. Don't get up. Just put your face up here. Oh, Mother. Mother, you mustn't. Hello, Hazel.
I was just coming upstairs to find you.
Where's Mother?
She went to her room.
You said goodbye to her?
Yeah. Here, let's sit down here on the steps for a minute.
Have you time?
Sure. I was going down to see Dad in the library, but I'd rather talk to you first. Sit down.
A little confidential chat on the stair landing, huh?
Yeah. You know, Hazel, it's queer, but it seems like I want to talk about some different phase of my life with each member of the family. What comes into my mind now isn't anything like what I said to Mom.
Yes, I understand that.
I keep thinking of when I was a kid sitting here with you. I remember how I used to get in your hair and Claudia's whenever you had boys around. I must have been obnoxious as all get out.
Well, you had your moments, I'll give you that.
I remember how you married Bill Herbert and how Nicky Lacey followed Claudia back here from England and how Dad disliked him at first.
Oh, but he got to like Nicky. Among his favorite people.
Oh, sure. And those wonderful summers up at the Sky Ranch. You're all going up again this summer, aren't you?
It looks like it.
Yeah. I think where I'll be.
Yes, I am.
China, India, Burma, Manchuria. Who knows?
We'll be thinking a great deal about you all the months you're away.
Mm-hmm. What do you think I'll be doing?
Jack.
Yeah?
You'll keep the letters coming, won't you?
Hey, now, I've done pretty good at Fort Sill.
Yes, but this is going to be different. Keep them coming twice a week, especially for Betty and Mother.
Well, yeah, but I'll have to remember the mail facilities out there.
Oh, yes, but you do your part and we'll do ours.
It's a deal.
Jack, do you remember the time you rented a set of full tails about 10 times too big for you and went to pay a call on your heart's desire?
Oh, boy, I was 13.
And she slammed the door in your face. She thought you were clowning.
Busted my heart wide open. Hey, you know something?
What?
Put things like that in your letters. They help.
Recollections of our family life?
Yeah. Things like that in a letter, they get a fellow's train of thoughts to working. Take his mind off what's happening at the moment.
It's a good idea. I'll do it.
Well, time's getting short.
Of course it is. I've kept you longer than I meant.
Oh, no. Just that I still got to see Dad and Paul and Teddy, and want to get back up to Betty before the Jeep gives me the beep.
Naturally.
Here, give me a hand.
Oh, you go ahead. I'll go up and talk to Mother a little.
Hey, how about a kiss?
Of course. A girl's very proud and happy to have a brother like you, Jack, dear.
See you after Tokyo.
Yep. Go on now.
Yeah.
After Tokyo.
Is that you, Jack?
Yeah, I've just been saying goodbye to Mom and Hazel.
So soon?
Yep. They'll be dropping by for me in about 15 minutes.
So seldom you're with us, so soon you'll go.
Dad, you know I'm going to get a great pleasure out of 2 mental pictures of you.
Huh?
One of them sitting here in that big chair before the fire.
Yes.
The other's of you out in the garden on your knees.
Yeah. Typical, I expect.
Yeah. Huh?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, what's the matter here, anyway? The minutes are slipping by, and we're not saying anything to each other.
Funny, too, because I was just full of things I wanted to talk to you about. Now I can't remember any of them.
Stage fright. That's what's the matter with us. Stage fright. Our moment is here, and we're tongue-tied.
Well, it is a pretty big thing to try to put into words all the love and affection and appreciation a son has for his father.
Huh? You feel that way?
Dad, I never appreciated the kind of a home you created for us here in Seacliff until I got out into the Army and had a look at some of the rest of the world.
I like hearing you say that, Jack. I'll remember those words and keep them with me.
Well, they're true words.
Well, then, I don't need to convert you to the idea that the family is the keystone to good government.
Well, not me.
You've got 10 minutes more in our midst, and we're talking social problems. Well, what's got into me, anyway?
Well, maybe it's hard for us to say what's inside us. Maybe we're just talking around the bush because the real things just won't come out.
Yes. Before you came in here, I was sitting here thinking about you, trying to make out what there was in your life which had brought you to this circumstance.
What circumstances have arranged it so that I'm about to jump off the Western Hemisphere and land on a battlefront some 9,000 or 10,000 miles from here?
Yes.
I don't know, Dad.
You weren't such an exceptional baby.
Hey.
Oh, you weren't. You gurgled and you hiccuped and you cried your full share. I'm sure there wasn't anything in your infancy which pointed out that you were to become a lieutenant in the field artillery.
I wouldn't know.
Well, in your boyhood and adolescence, I don't recall anything. Oh, yes, the policeman on the block brought you home by the ear a couple of times for pranks, but he did the same to the other boys. There was nothing in the little boy who said his prayers or the adolescent who suffered so much from calf love to indicate that you were going to grow into a man of war.
In fact, if any boy was taught peace at any price, it was me. When Paul came back from the last war with a bad leg and shell shock, the very word war was taboo in this house.
Yes, and I'm sure there was nothing in your study of law at Stanford, nor in your marriage and production of 3 daughters, which points you out as a belligerent fellow.
Well, it just goes to show, Dad. You can raise a man to peace and goodwill, but if you push him around enough, he's still going to develop into a fighter.
Yeah. I'm going to say goodbye to you here in the house. I don't want to see you drive away.
Yeah, nobody's going out.
I just can't bear to see people get into automobiles and drive out of my life. Something tears loose inside of me every time it happens.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I think I'll get up. Oh, I see Margaret outside. I think I'll go down in the garden with her until you're gone.
Sure, if you want to.
If I put my arm around her, if I touch her.
Okay, Dad. I understand.
God bless you, boy. God bless you.
You too, Dad. Well, that's life as she's lived today, I guess.
Hey, you in here by yourself?
Oh, no, Teddy.
I thought you were here with Father Barbour.
Oh, he just said goodbye. He's gone down into the garden.
Oh. I was going to tiptoe by and not bother, and then I saw you standing here alone.
You know something, Teddy?
What?
You've got to be one of the best doggone-looking girls I know.
Oh.
You think I'm kidding? I mean it. I'll bet you're number one priority with the boys in the hospital, even in white stockings.
So the Army's giving you a way with the girls, is that it?
I've always had a way with the one girl I care about.
Baby?
Who else?
She said she wasn't going outside to see you leave.
No, I'm going to say goodbye to her upstairs in her room. That's the easiest and the best. Saving her for last.
Naturally.
Well, Teddy, what do you ever hear of Wayne Grubb and Tracy Baker?
Well, we knew that Tracy was flying a P-38 and was shot down in the African campaign. He was in the hospital for a little, and then he went to flying a bomber over Germany.
Not a scratch, huh?
Mm-mm. And the last letter said he was being transferred to the Pacific Theater.
Tracy turned out to be quite a lad. Is he still in love with you?
Oh, we write regularly, but they aren't those kind of letters.
And Wayne Grubb?
Wayne's kind of gone out of my life. Oh, I hear maybe once every 3 months. He's in supply. The last letter said he might get to Manila.
I know I'd see him over there.
Uh-huh.
Why do you say it like that?
I don't know. I was just thinking. I suppose they wouldn't be taking you if they didn't need you.
I doubt it. Why?
I guess I keep thinking of things from a nurse's point of view.
Oh, yeah.
You've got a wonderful physique. You've got a lot to live for when you come back.
In other words, take care of myself?
Well, it's silly because, like everyone else, you'll do what's required of you. But don't be careless. You'd be surprised what percentage of soldiers are in that hospital out there because they didn't do all they could to protect themselves.
Oh, I've been trained for that.
So were they. But some of them relaxed or forgot or just didn't give a hoot. Look at them now. And it wasn't necessary at all.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean when I say take care of yourself. Go out and give them all you've got, but play them close to your chest.
And this is the girl who was running around in pigtails 5 or 6 years ago.
You grow up fast in this day and age.
Yeah?
I'm on my way to the hospital now. I mustn't be late.
Okay, I'll go to the front door with you.
All right. It's hard to realize this is happening to you.
I guess every man's called overseas has said the same thing.
Well, see you when it's over.
Hey, do I have to ask for kisses around here?
I was hoping to get away fast. I'm not used to kissing the boys goodbye. Here. Now let me go.
Yeah. See you when it's over. Yeah. See you when it's over.
Oh, Jack.
Oh, hello, Paul. I thought you were probably up in your studio.
No, I've been waiting for you in the living room.
You know, this is the queerest experience of all of it. Trying to square accounts with everyone before I have to go.
You having much success?
No.
I thought so.
I don't know what's the matter. I don't seem to be able to say anything important. Everything's trivial. So much that ought to be said. So much I'd like Mom and Dad and all of you to know before I go. And I haven't said any of it.
Of course.
You really aren't surprised?
How can a man put into words what he feels towards those who created him and molded him and watched over him? He can't. Any more than the human creature can express himself eloquently to his God. What do people do when they want to thank their God or beseech his help? They sing homely, conventional hymns. They say simple, oft-repeated prayers. They get down on their knees and bow their heads in simple supplication. They give money to charity. All the simple, homely, everyday words and gestures that have been said and done since the beginning of time. Do you think these things are the actual relationship between man and his Maker? Not at all. They're only symbols. Man is too inarticulate to express the deep things of his mind and emotion. There just aren't words for them.
But I flounder so.
Do you doubt that God doesn't know our intent when we kneel? Of course not. And in just the same way Dad and Mom know the feeling in your heart when you look into their faces and touch their hands.
But I'm not falling down?
Not at all.
I've never heard you talk of God before, Paul.
I'm doing it purposely. When a man's going out where you may be going, God's a mighty important part in your life. A lot of the men don't take him with them, but those who do are comforted the most at difficult times.
I don't know whether I can or not.
It's not something to worry about. I just thought you'd like to know that when I was in France in the First World War, I found there were times when I could talk to God, when I couldn't talk with anyone else. I don't know who or what God is any more than you do, and I'm afraid my conception of him is pretty unorthodox and unconventional. I can't go with you where you're going, and I just thought I'd like to give you something to think about if you ever get in a tight place.
Yeah. Thanks.
One other thing. Don't worry about Betty and the children. They'll get attention from all of us.
Oh, I know that. There's something else, though.
Well, let's have it.
It's about myself.
Oh?
Paul, you went through the last war. You must have some way of measuring a man. Well, do you think I can take care of the job ahead of me?
You'll have to find that answer inside yourself when the time comes.
It's not something you can help me with?
I will say this, that I've never known a good soldier yet who wasn't more afraid of being afraid than he was of actual combat.
Yeah. Yeah, we've talked about that a lot. I mean, both sessions. And it's even had some official recognition, but I have a queer kind of sensation of being inadequate. Wondering if my superior officers know my weaknesses. Afraid I'll be asked to do the one thing I won't be able to do.
What one thing?
I don't know. I'm sure there's something.
You've got a large, oversized dose of stage fright.
Dad said he and I had stage fright was the reason we couldn't talk to each other.
It's because you're still 10,000 miles from action. Once you get your feet on the ground and begin going through all the routine you've acquainted yourself with in training camps and all, why, that doubt and wonder will slip away.
You know, Paul, it just came to me. It's pretty doggone interesting, isn't it? A soldier of 1918 talking to a soldier of 1945, and us being brothers.
The old and the new, huh? Oh, by the way, it's 25 after 4.
Oh, hey.
It's only going to give you 5 minutes with Betty.
Well, we decided we didn't want too long and just make it harder. That's why I saved Betty for last, so I could run down and get in the Jeep and be gone the minute it arrived. You'll excuse me now?
If you're going to dash out that fast, I'd better say goodbye now.
Yeah, I wish you would. No last-minute stuff.
Well, try to remember some of the things I've tried to say to you. And remember, there's safety and security waiting for you when you come back to us. And above all, don't worry about Betty.
Thank you, Paul.
Well, goodbye.
Bye, Paul.
Well, go on. Go on. Betty's waiting.
Yeah, you bet. See you when it's all over.
Hello?
It's me, Betty.
Is it time? Is it time yet?
Oh, Betty, you're beautiful.
You like it?
I didn't know you had a dress like that. What have you done to your hair?
Well, I dolled the infant daughters all up, and then I thought maybe you'd like to see me looking beautiful, too.
Just a minute while I close the door. Now, come here and get yourself kissed.
Oh, yes.
There.
It's almost time now, isn't it?
Almost.
Have you said goodbye to everyone else?
Yeah. Saved you for dessert.
I'm afraid your daughters are all asleep. Here they are over here.
Maybe it's better that way.
Maybe I should wake Elizabeth, Sharon Ann anyway.
Oh, no, don't. All washed and combed and curled. The darling. You know something, Ben?
What?
We're a pretty lucky couple.
Oh, yes.
Just shot full of luck, us Jack Barbours.
Jack, we shouldn't brag about it.
Why not? There's every man who has the most beautiful wife in the world, plus the 3 most beautiful daughters.
But you're leaving us,
Just for a little. I'll be back in no time at all. Look, already men are coming home from war. Been out fighting, and now their time is up and they're coming home.
I wish you were coming home instead of just going out.
But think of the interesting letters I'm going to send you from all the interesting places.
Is that going to be as good as somebody to lie close to? Somebody to put his arm around me? Is that as good?
Betty, my darling, we had it all figured out, remember? No last minute being sorry for ourselves.
But keep your arm around me. You can do that till it's time.
Of course I can.
Oh, Jack, make it all happen quickly. Make it so that you can come back for always, and I can feel complete and whole again. Not just half a thing getting along.
As quickly as I can, Betty.
And then we'll live like a real American family should live again. I'll cook your breakfast in the morning, and you'll read the paper and go down to your law office, and I'll have the whole day to teach our children our way of life and have the house ready for your homecoming. And after dinner, we can be alone to plan our plans or go over to Mother and Father Barbour's or go to a show. Everything will be so safe and sure and wonderful again.
It will, won't it?
Make it happen, Jack. Make it come true.
That's my going away promise to you.
It is?
To come back and fit into our way of life. That's my promise.
Oh, yes.
Jack,
Yes, Hazel?
the Jeep's down in front.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
Oh, no, Jack.
Betty, you mustn't hang on to me. You mustn't make it so hard.
Not this time, Jack. Don't go this time.
Darling, they're waiting. Let me go quickly the way I wanted to. That's it. Goodbye, darling. Please don't look that way. Just say goodbye.
Of course. Goodbye, darling. I wish I'd been braver. I wish I'd been braver.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 out of every 10 say royal desserts taste more delicious. Yes, royal desserts taste more delicious. Yes, ma'am. When 1,526 Royal Desserts users told why they want Royal every time, 8 out of every 10 said Royal Desserts taste more delicious. Try one and see. Ask your grocer for Orange Royal Gelatin tomorrow. Its tangy, fruity flavor makes you think of big golden oranges heavy with juice, and it's sweetened just right. Takes none of your precious sugar. Yes, Royal Gelatin Desserts are different. They're flavor-sealed, richer, tangier. Always get Royal Gelatin Desserts and Royal Puddings, too. Take any flavor your grocer has. If it's Royal, it's a real treat. You've just heard Chapter 9, Book 54 of One Man's Family, written and produced by Carlton E. Morse for the makers of Royal Desserts and Tenderleaf Tea. Chapter 10, entitled What Took Paul to Washington, will come to you next week at this same time. It's iced tea time, and that means that the flavor of your tea is doubly important, because flavor is the making of delicious iced tea, richer flavor and more of it. So don't compromise with anything less. Get famous for flavor Tenderleaf Tea, the finer blend that transforms iced tea from a beverage into an event. Every glass, every sip is a testimonial to your judgment in making this flavor choice, a summer-long tribute to your taste, a daily source of gratification. Because the melting ice dilutes the tea, of course, and there's only one way to combat it. That is to have plenty of flavor to begin with. Plenty of the kind of flavor that brings Tenderleaf Tea its fame. Stock up for warm weather. Put in a supply. Make this year's iced tea season the best one so far, with more refreshing, more satisfying Tenderleaf iced tea with meals and between. Ask your grocer for Tenderleaf brand tea, the 4-ounce size. One Man's Family comes to you from California.
This is the Blue Network of the American Broadcasting Company.
This is One Man's Family. One Man's Family is dedicated to the mothers and fathers of the younger generation and to their bewildering offspring. Today transcribed, we present Chapter 13, Book 71, entitled End of a Summer Saga. In just a little while, all the Barbours are going to arrive back in San Francisco. Vacation at the Sky Ranch finished for another year. Just now, at the top of the family home at Seacliff, Joan is packing her bags and saying goodbye to Paul.
Paul, will you help me close this suitcase?
My goodness, somebody's going to have to sit on it. What happened?
I don't know. When I moved over here, everything went in.
What's this sticking out the side there, Joan?
Oh, yeah.
That's it. Now, when I press down on the lid, you snap it shut, huh?
If you can press it down.
There we go. Close the snap, honey. Ah, good.
Now, press on this other side a little more, and... there. Well, I guess that's all of me, Uncle Paul. All put away and ready to be sent home.
Not all of you, honey.
All that counts.
I disagree. I have a theory that when a person's been happy and well-loved, they leave something of themselves behind. An aura, a vagrant perfume. Something like a memory, only more substantial.
You mean the ghost of Joan will still be here to haunt you?
Maybe she will. Shall I close your other case?
Oh, not yet. I'm sure to find something else I've overlooked.
Well, there's no hurry. Sit down and take a blow. You've been buzzing ever since you got up this morning.
Yeah. I suppose they'll all be arriving from the Sky Ranch pretty soon.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Golly, it was fun having a job and going down to work with you.
I enjoyed it, too.
I just dread the thought of going back to school.
Look ahead. Another year you'll be in college. You'll like that.
I guess so. Uncle Paul.
Yes?
This is the most wonderful summer I ever had. I love being up here at the top of the house in Teddy's room, right next to your studio.
Well, think what you've done for me.
It wasn't boring for you having me around?
What?
And feeling you had to be here every night with me forever on your hands?
You don't want me to go over that again, do you? You know I had the time of my life, that I enjoyed having you, and I'd have been very lonesome without you. There, that's the last time I'm going to say it.
All right. Oh, I've got something for you. I almost forgot. Just a minute, Uncle Paul.
Oh, here now, Joe.
Oh, it isn't anything, really. Just a gag, kind of. I should have had it wrapped up and made it look more like a present.
Well, I can't see it behind your back.
Here. It's a picture. I had it framed.
Why, Joe. Picture of you and me.
Oh, it's just a snapshot. I had enlarged.
Why, it's perfect. Thank you. When was it taken?
Oh, remember when Ken took that snap of us out of the airport about 2 weeks ago at lunchtime?
Oh, you've written on it. To my Uncle Paul, who helped me find myself. Much love, Joe. I can't tell you how much I appreciate this. It was such a thoughtful thing to do.
You know, ever since I've been in Teddy's room, I felt a little jealous of all those pictures of you and her. Won't be so bad now that I have a picture, too. Do you think I'm awful to have a feeling like that about Teddy?
Why, of course not. You know what I was thinking now?
What?
The tremendous strides you've made. It's wonderful. I can't get over it. At the beginning of summer, you couldn't have said the things you've just told me, you know it?
About Teddy, you mean?
Oh, that and a lot more besides. Remember when you moved in up here several weeks ago, how you asked me questions about those pictures of Teddy?
Yes, and I felt jealous then, but I didn't want to let you know it.
Exactly. Now you're not afraid to talk about it. How much healthier that is than to push the thought down and feel that it was wrong to have such a feeling. Yes, you come along, honey. Uh-oh.
Hey, in there.
Oh, golly, they're home.
Come on in. Oh, hi, Cliff.
Hi, kids. We just got in from the Sky Ranch. Vacation's over.
Are Claudia and Nicky downstairs?
They were behind us driving down. They might not have arrived yet. I don't know why they were going to stop by here now.
I imagine they went right on to your place, Joe.
I was hoping they'd stop here.
Well, I got to help Dad with bags and stuff. I just ran in to tell you we'd arrive.
I'll be with you right away and lend a hand.
Okay.
How's Mom?
Oh, she's fine. She went right over to Jack and Betty's to help with the triplets and the rest of the kids. I'll see you downstairs.
Yeah, leave the door open, Cliff.
You all right?
Well, Joan, I guess there isn't anything more for us to do up here.
Should we take my bags down now?
Oh, I'll run up and get them later. Why don't we go down and help out? I'll run you over to your house if Claude and Nicky don't come by.
All right.
Huh? What's the matter, honey?
I wish I didn't have to go back home. I've been so happy up here next to you.
I know, but you remember all our talks about looking at things realistically? Making an effort to distinguish between our childish, immature dream world and the world we have to live in? Remember?
Yes, Paul.
Well, this is a test. Up here with me represents your dream world. Going home represents reality. You belong with your mother, Nicky, and they need you. And after a little, you're going to find that you need them, too.
Oh, it isn't that I don't love them. I do. I love them more than I ever have. I think it's just that, not being here in the evening to talk to you anymore, to put your pajamas out for you, to have breakfast together and rush off to work. I'm going to miss it like anything.
That's just temporary. You're going to find a lot of new things to replace all that. You're going to have a whole new outlook with your mother and Nicky. You're going to find that they can be fun to do things with, too.
I'm going to try, and I do want to make them happy.
You want to make them happy? You see? Already you're thinking of them and not yourself. Wonderful. Don't worry. You're going to be okay. Believe me, you are. Come on. We're going downstairs, huh?
Yes, Uncle Paul. It's funny how sure I am of everything when I listen to you.
Two cars and a station wagon sped down Skyline Boulevard from the Sky Ranch earlier this morning, and the Barbours' summer holiday is over. Now, back at the family home, Father Barbour is furiously dialing the phone in the library, while Cliff, Paul, Andy, and Joan carry up the luggage, which is then deposited in the front hallway.
Fanny! Oh, Fanny!
Cliff said she went across the hedge to Jack's house, Dan.
What? What's that, Paul?
Mom's helping Betty and Nicolette get the children settled.
Oh, fine. Oh, splendid. And my things scattered from here to breakfast. Hello, Pinky. Oh, Hank? Well, whichever one it is, let me speak to your mother.
Hey, Dad, Andy's to have the room next to mine. Jack's old room, isn't he?
I presume so, Clifford. If your mother would stay around home for 2.5 minutes instead of rushing off every time the triplets utter a whimper, we'd know where... Oh, hello. Hazel?
Well, we'll get things stowed away.
Hazel, in order to locate my possessions, I've got to be a Pinkerton detective. What? I want to ask you, were you not in the kitchen at the Sky Ranch when I came out there this morning? I asked for a few yards of brown wrapping paper and wrapped up my hammock. Do you remember? Huh? Well, somebody was in the kitchen. I thought it was you. I wrapped it up, put a card on it that said Father Barbour's hammock, and carried it out to the front porch and put it with all that big pile of stuff. And now apparently it wasn't put in my car. Huh? I know everybody's busy, Hazel, but I'm not going to have the same trouble again next year. I'm going to put the hammock away right now so we'll know where to find it. All right. I'll phone around and see whose car they put in. Who slammed that door?
Sorry, Dad. Andy just went out.
Oh, yes. Oh, we have a boy in the house now, Hazel. Hey. Oh, she hung up. A good father trains his son not to slam doors, Clifford.
I'll get right on it, Dad. You find the hammer?
No, I did not find the hammer.
Who are you calling now?
That's a very reasonable question, Clifford. I have not been home 5 minutes, and now I'm phoning my wife, who has a way of vanishing into thin air.
She's over at Jack and Betty's helping Nicolette.
I know. Anytime she's missing, she's over at Jack and Betty's. Oh, hello. Who is it? Oh, Nicolette. Let me speak to my wife if you don't mind.
Upstairs, Clifford.
Oh, thanks, Joan. Get this little bag. That's all, I guess. Though, that linen is Hazel. Somebody left it here by mistake.
Oh, gee, I've enjoyed being in Teddy's old room this summer.
Were you leaving here today?
I guess so. There's a general feeling in the air that a girl ought to live with her own father and mother.
Instead of uncles and grandparents, all of whom are softies, huh?
Mm-hmm. Oh, is this your room now, Uncle Cliff?
Yeah, it's pretty nice, isn't it? You know, when I got back from the hospital and saw the wallpaper changed and that new rug, I couldn't figure out what had happened. It was as if the room had been redecorated overnight. But they said it had been changed 4 years ago when I moved over with you folks at Nicky and Claudia's.
You still haven't any memory of all those lost 11 years?
Not one wisp of memory. Oh, this is going to be Andy's room, Jack's old room.
Oh, keen.
Oh, it's a nice room for a boy, right next to his dad.
Oh, we'll sure miss Skippy. Andy over at our house. But he'll like this.
Hey, Joan, where are you?
Oh, in here, Paul, in Andy's room.
Turmoil downstairs.
With Dad in the middle, I bet.
Claudia's line is busy and Dad's pacing the carpet. What the diggins happened to his package, anyhow?
I didn't see it.
Oh, look, Uncle Paul. This is going to be Andy's room.
Yeah, I'm going to build in some bookcases over there for him, Paul, and I swear to you I'm going to read aloud to him every night. Books like Hans Brinker and Tom Sawyer and The Three Musketeers and... Oh, hey, what happened to the copy of Treasure Island? It was with my stuff, wasn't it?
Oh, Cliff, I'm sorry.
What?
I thought that was Pinky's book. I put it in Hazel's car.
Oh, that's all right, Joan. All of us are at 6s and 7s today. I'll run over to Hazel's and get it after a while.
Now, whose book is this? Oh, Pinky, Margaret, whose copy of Treasure Island...
They've disappeared, Hazel.
Honestly, Dan, now where have they gone? Don't they realize all these things have to be put away?
You know, Hazel, I was just standing here wondering about that, and I think I'm going to be charitable.
Now, what's that mean?
Well, I was trying to put myself in their place when I was a youngster. I remember we'd come home from a summer trip, unload on the back porch, and all of a sudden I'd get an unbearable yearning to see Stinky Peters. Oh, Stinky Peters. He was my boyhood pal. His father was a tanner.
Oh, I see.
Well, they've gone, but there's nothing to worry about. You know when we'll see them again?
As soon as they're hungry.
Right as rain. You've answered the question, lady. You win the jackpot.
And here it is. 4 suitcases, 2 sleeping bags, a saddle, boots, Pinky's box of pine cones. What in the world do you suppose he brought those home for?
Who knows?
Blankets, towels, soil, laundry. Well, Dan, let's get at it.
Say, here's an idea. We could put the kids' stuff right smack in the middle of the living room floor and see how long they'll walk around it.
Well, we'll have to move it for the Christmas tree in December anyway, so we might as well take it upstairs right now.
Oh, hello. Here comes Claudia up on the porch.
Door's unlocked. Come on in, Claudia.
Did you say to come in?
In here, Claudia. You'll find us under the luggage.
Isn't it a mess, though? How did everything get so mixed up this year?
The small helping hands of many children.
How true. And where are they now?
Ah, yes. Not a chick, no child on the horizon.
Isn't it always that way?
Always.
Oh, Hazel, here's your compact. It got in my bag somehow.
Oh, thanks.
And Dan's hat. And isn't this Margaret's underwear?
I'm afraid it is.
And whose T-shirt?
Hank's. Oh, dear.
I suppose you've heard the latest catastrophe in the family, Claudia?
Oh, no. What now?
Father's lost his precious hammock again.
Oh, no, not again.
It rounds out the summer beautifully, doesn't it?
Well, I was in the kitchen up there when he came out and got some wrapping paper. And you should have seen the card he printed. Father Barbour's Sky Ranch hammock, do not touch. Do not touch. With exclamation marks all over it. So I presume nobody touched it.
I don't know what we'd ever do without him. Isn't he wonderful?
Oh, poor Dad. Has he forgiven Margaret yet?
No. And you know, I really think something's happened this time.
Well, if I heard a little girl say she had me right in her pocket, I think it might cool down my ardor just a little.
I hope Margaret learns a real lesson from this. I did feel sorry for her, though, when we left this morning. Did you see what happened, Claudia?
No. When?
Well, Father was trying to make up his mind which car might travel at the more sensible speed.
I know he finally decided on Nicky's station wagon. I didn't know why he selected him.
On basis of common sense driving.
Well, anyway, Dan and I watched Margaret. She followed him around like a shadow.
Unrequited love.
I'll say it was.
And then when Mother and Father got into the station wagon, she stood almost in front of it, idly looking off toward the mountains, scuffing one shoe, swishing her skirt a little, waiting for him to call to her.
Poor darling. Hazel, he just doesn't realize how severely he's punishing her.
That's our father. He never does anything in half measures. If he loves wholeheartedly. If he indulges, he overindulges. And when he becomes the disciplinarian, he's the strictest martinet of them all.
Did Margaret cry?
No, she didn't, Claudia. She carried it off like a little trooper. We had a dry-eyed, silent trip down.
I suppose in a way it's good for her. She's had this coming for a long, long time. She's been so high-handed and superior about her grandfather.
But it catches your throat to have to watch it.
You see, Claudia, she'd got to the place where she was actually flipped with Hazel and me. We couldn't do anything with her. She'd, take this Friday evening movie stuff. We'd say no, she couldn't go to a movie. Then she'd slip out of the house unnoticed, and the next thing we knew, there'd be a phone call from Father Barbour.
Yes, he'd say, Margaret and I are going downtown to see a Disney. Home early, and hang up.
Uh-oh. You don't suppose she's wormed her way back in?
I'll get it.
He's a remarkable old gent in every way. I love him. But there are times when I...
When you what, Dad?
Oh, when I think it might be a good idea to get off by ourselves for a summer. You know, just our own household.
Mm-hmm. We tried it once.
No good?
Well, you spend half your time wondering what's happening back home, and you pull up stakes early so you can find out.
For you, Claudia. Nicky.
Oh, did you say what he wanted?
No, but he sounds very cheerful.
Well, good. Then nobody's broken a leg. He probably is wondering why I haven't got back home.
Well, he didn't sound like a husband feeling sorry for himself.
Yes, Nicky? Oh, he did? Yes, I guess he's been raising the roof with everybody. Well, there's no point in my calling him. I don't know where the hammock... You what? Oh, Nicky, if that's true, it's wonderful. Well, did you tell Dad I was over here? Maybe he'll call me here then. I'll suggest that he phone the ranch. All right, darling, thanks. I'll be home in a little. Bye.
Well, something certainly struck you funny.
Dad's still on a phoning binge, determined to find his hammock or know the reason why.
He called Nicky?
He talked to Nicky, but he actually wanted me. Have you ever noticed when he's out of temper, he makes an attempt first to get a hold of his own children, not his in-laws?
Oh, I hadn't thought of that, but you're right. He calls here sometimes and asks for Hazel. If she doesn't happen to be in, bang, up goes the receiver. Sometimes I've had to wait 2 days to find out what was eating him.
If he was 5 years old, you'd call it petulance. And look under P in your handbook, How to Handle a Problem Child.
Well, he finally broke down and told Nicky he's looking for the hammock.
Sharing his pitiful secret.
And Nicky called here because after Dad hung up, he remembered something. Just before he locked up, he was giving Ben some last-minute instructions in the kitchen. And he says Ben was leaning both elbows on a big brown paper parcel. Sure.
Don't tell me history's repeating itself.
How ridiculous can things get? When we left for the Sky Ranch in June, Father raised Ned with everybody because he was sure he'd left the hammock in the storage room. And all the time he'd given it to Margaret to keep for him. Now this fall he leaves the hammock at the Sky Ranch, and once again he's holding his family at fault.
Hey, Claudia, that's your car outside?
Oh, no, I'm not driving back to the Sky Ranch tonight.
Dan, you're not serious.
Did I mention the Sky Ranch? However, how about all of us going over to the family home for a little commiseration with Father Barbour in his present misery?
Oh, you mean and incidentally reveal that his hammock is right where he left it on the kitchen draining board?
Oh, that's dirty.
Oh, not at all. Father Barbour's full of perplexity and mental disturbance. We'll simply put him out of his misery.
Yes, yes. And when you get through with that telephone, Clifford, if you ever do, I should like to use it.
Now, what'd you say, Roberta?
Claudia's over at Hazel's. I want to talk to her.
Just a second, Dan. What's that, Roberta?
If people wouldn't all try to help the pack.
Roberta, just a second, please. Dad's talking to me. Hey, Dad, I'll be through here in just a minute. I can't hear what she says. Yes, Roberta? What? You have another date? Oh. With Professor who? Parker? Oh, I see. Oh, anthropology, huh? Oh, shucks, no, I don't know anything about anthropology. Huh? Well, I'm not going along with... Well, I hadn't planned to bring Andy anyhow. He's going to have a regular bedtime school, you know.
A good deal of this you could tell her when you see her.
But, okay, if you've got another date, Roberta, Hey, what's this Parker's first name? Wilbur, huh? Wilbur Parker, I see. Well, suppose I call you tomorrow. Oh, we're all fine. We're just getting unpacked now. Oh, hey, Dad.
Let me speak to her. Hello, Roberta. We can't find anything. The children helped load the cars. Yes.
Oh, Dad, let me take that. Well, Dad wants to use the phone. All right, darling, have fun. Bye now.
About time. I liked it best in the days when you could just pick up the telephone and say, operator. Oh, now I've made a mistake.
Well, if you're trying to locate Claudia, never mind. She just drove up in front.
Huh? Oh, good.
Dad, did you ever hear of a Professor Wilbur Parker at the university?
Hazel and Daniel and Whizzer.
Oh, Dad, I asked if you
No, we'll get somewhere.
Hello, anybody home?
In the library, Claudia. Come along, all of you, in the library.
Hello, Father.
Hello, Clifford. Hi, Father Barbour. Yes. Claudia, when we packed up at the Sky Ranch, I had a big brown bundle with a card on it that said, Father Barbour's hammock, do not touch. And somebody loaded it before I could get around to do it myself.
Aren't you even going to ask us to sit down? Where's Mother?
Oh, keep track of your mother. Yes, sit down. Well, when I put the bundle on the porch, I specifically told everyone not to touch it because I hadn't decided which car I'd drive.
I didn't see it, Dad.
Somebody must have seen it.
Sorry, Dad. I didn't see it, really. What's wrong, Cliff? Why so somber?
Oh, hi, Claude. How's my twin?
Now, listen to me, Claudia. Don't just toss it away like that. I didn't see it, Dad. I don't want to go through this trouble every year trying to find my hammock.
Well, why don't you call the Sky Ranch and ask Ben if you forgot it?
I didn't forget it, Hazel. I put it on the front porch. Then, in the last minute of turmoil and confusion, just as we were driving out, I glanced back at the porch and everything had been taken off. So I presumed that it had been put in Nicholas's station wagon.
Oh, that reminds me. I should have told Ben to have that sun porch rug cleaned. May I use the phone?
Huh? Yes, go ahead. Hazel, I don't know why your mother has to spend so much time at Jack and Betty's. I wish you'd speak to her.
I thought you said you didn't know where she was.
Huh? When did I say that? I don't know what's so humorous. If she would tend to my affairs once in a while, I might know where things are so I could put my hands on them.
Operator, Omar 16011.
Huh? Daniel, what are you grinning at?
Well, I guess I'm just glad to get home, Father Barbour. Everything seems so normal.
Do you have to grin like a Cheshire cat just because things are normal?
Father, where's Paul?
Oh, he and Joan are getting the last of her things.
Ben? Hello, Ben. Mrs. Lacey. I want to talk to you about the rug in the new porch. Yes, the children tracked in on it. Oh, good, Ben.
I did? Well, I'd forgotten I spoke to you. Ben, by the way, Father Barbour had a big brown parcel.
Oh, that's nonsense, Claudia. What would he know about it?
He's positive he put it on the front porch. It was his hammock. It's where? In the kitchen, right where he left it?
Huh?
I see. Dad, would you speak to Ben? He has something to tell you.
Oh, very well, very well. Well, Ben. Yes, I see. All I know is that I had it on the porch. Then somebody moved it into the kitchen.
Oh, Father.
Hey, Dad.
All right, Ben, you bring it down when you come. Yes. Goodbye. I'm going over and get your mother and see if we can't get this place straightened around.
But, Father, what about the hammock?
I can't possibly settle down and be quiet until your mother's right here where she belongs. Everything goes wrong the minute she leaves the house.
But you've located the hammock all right, Dad.
I don't want to hear any more about that hammock ever.
Oh, poor Father. I wonder what had happened if he ever admitted to anybody that he'd been wrong.
Well, that would be the brave new world you hear so much about.
Oh, I'd better phone Nicky. He'll wonder what's happened to me. Oh, Cliff, would you find Joan and see if she's ready to go home with me?
Okay.
Tell her I'd like to leave right away before we... Hello, Nicky? Did you think I was lost? Well, I came over here to Dad's with Hazel, and that's what's taken me so long.
Quite all right, old girl. You're going to bring Joan, then? Good. No, I've been very busy looking for a baby blanket for Jack. Yes, he's here, and he needs it most desperately. Right-o. Claudia may be able to locate that blanket when she gets here, Jack.
Well, when's she coming?
Well, she's leaving right away with Joan. It'll only take them a minute or two, unless she gets sidetracked again.
Gosh sakes, I no sooner get in the house and off I go running some darn fool errand. I don't know whether my career is the law or runner for infant females.
Barely cheerful about it.
Might as well, I'm in it. And wait until you see this fool blanket. It's practically in shreds, but Mary Lou is in tears all the way down because she didn't have it.
Yes, I've seen her with it. She drags it around with her every place she goes.
We hardly can get it away from her long enough to wash it.
Probably mixed in with some of Claudia and Penelope's gear.
If I don't find it here, I'll have to track it down someplace or not show my face at home.
You don't suppose it's still up at the Sky Ranch, do you?
All I know is Betty promised her Daddy would find it just as soon as we got home.
And so far, Daddy hasn't come through.
Yes, and Daddy's getting pretty sick of the whole business. I tried to tell Betty this would be a good time to break the habit of Mary Lou having it, but no soap.
Well, isn't it just as liable to be over at Hazel's as here?
Oh, sure, it could be at any one of a dozen places, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I've got my money on Claudia. Hey, I heard the door.
That you, Claudia?
Yes, Joan and I are home, finally.
Oh, here, Claudia, let me get those bags.
I think Joan's got the heaviest one.
Well, here, let me have it, Joan.
Oh, it isn't too heavy.
You haven't got a baby blanket in these, do you?
Oh, this is Joan's luggage. She's moving back home from Paul's.
Well, Jack's trying to locate his second daughter, Mary Lou's blanket.
Oh, well, they found it, I think, Jack.
What?
Yes, Mom called out just as we were leaving and said if we saw you to tell you that they'd found Mary Lou's blanket.
How do you like that? Where was it?
I don't know.
Well, Jack, you'll be safe in going home now, anyway.
Yeah, and I'd better be getting back. I'm sure there's a dozen jobs waiting. Thanks, Nicky.
Quite welcome.
You glad to be home, Joan?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Well, I'll be seeing you.
Bye-bye, Jack.
Bye, Jack.
Had a wonderful time at the Sky Ranch. Thanks a lot for everything.
Don't mention it.
Well, here we are. Back at home again. Doesn't it seem nice?
It does indeed.
Where's Penny?
Out in the kitchen with our Mrs. McCullough, I believe.
Ah, yes. Positively everything is back to normal. Except Skippy.
Quite. Penelope's going to miss him.
We're all going to miss him. What are we going to do with his little boy's room?
That I refuse to consider at the moment. Well, Joan, how's it strike you being back? Seem like home to you?
Oh, this house always seems like home to me, Nicky.
Let's take Joan's bags up to her bedroom.
All right. Here, I'll take one of these bags.
Here, let the master carry the luggage. Here we go.
I think he wants to show us how strong he is.
Well, why not? Now, if you two lovely ladies will lead the way up the stairs, if you please.
Come along, Joan.
By Jove, you look like a couple of sisters walking along there.
Well, that's a pretty thought, Nicky. Joan, dear, I think you've grown a little taller this summer.
Oh, I thought I just about stopped growing.
Or maybe you're just thinning out a little. Getting into the dips and curves department. What would you say, Nicky?
My dear, at this moment I'm concentrating on these stairs. I don't fancy a tumble with this luggage.
Well, here, Nicky.
Keep going, Joan, dear. Keep going. Ah, there.
The house needs airing out and a thorough cleaning.
Oh, I'll get the door. Go ahead, Nicky.
Good girl.
Oh, let's get some of the blinds up. It's so depressing with the shades all gone. There, that's better.
Oh, I'll get this one, Claudia.
Any special place you want these bags, Joan?
Oh, that's swell right there. Thank you, Nicky.
You're quite welcome. And now, if you two charming creatures will excuse me, I'll go take care of a few masculine chores.
All right, Nicky, darling. I'll go in and get our things straightened around just as soon as Joan's settled.
No hurry as far as I'm concerned. It's jolly nice having you back with us, Joan, my dear. We've missed you.
Gee, thanks, Nicky. I missed you, too.
Well, I'll go on down. Be taking me around below stairs if you want me.
All right, Nicky, darling. Well, Joan, you had quite an experience this summer.
Come on, Claudia, and sit down for a minute. Oh, here, sit here on the bed. Do you mind?
Of course not. I'd love it. Did you really like working?
Oh, I didn't work very hard. It was an easy job.
And you enjoyed it?
Oh, I adored it, Claudia. I hated to leave.
Well, maybe you can do it again next summer, darling, if you feel the urge.
Could I? And could I stay with Uncle Paul again?
Oh, we'd have to talk to Paul about that. And next summer is a long way off.
Yeah, I know.
Darling, tell me something.
I'll try, Claudia.
Are you sad about coming back to Nicky and me?
Why do you say that, Claudia? Am I acting funny or something? I don't mean to.
No, you're not acting anyway. You seem a little quiet and pensive, that's all.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not getting after you or anything like that. That isn't it. I just wondered if you were happy. Are you?
Yes.
You seem to be in such wonderful spirits all summer, and I sensed that you seemed a little depressed today.
Well,
You did want to come back home, didn't you?
Yes.
What is it, Joan, darling? Don't you want to tell me? You know how much we love you, don't you?
Yes, Claudia.
It was hard to leave Paul. Is that it?
Yes. Oh, he was wonderful to me.
I know. He's a wonderful person to be close to. You aren't the first girl to break her heart over him. But, darling, we love you, too, here at this house. We hope we can make it so you wouldn't rather be someplace else.
I wouldn't really because I... Oh, Claudia.
There, darling. It's all right. Go ahead and cry. Here, put your head down. Let me hold you. I've wished so many times you could do this. That's what a mother's for, John. Maybe you're just finding that out.
Paul said I was learning how to love, and... Oh, I do love you, Claudia. I do love you.
You've just heard Chapter 13, Book 71 of One Man's Family. Written, produced, and transcribed under the direction of Carlton E. Morse.
The opening chapter of Book 72, entitled Father Barbour and His Three Sons, will come to you next week on a new day and time. This has been the final One Man's Family episode in this time period. The Railroad Hour, starring Gordon McRae, will begin on this station at this time next Monday night. The next One Man's Family broadcast will be heard Sunday afternoon, October 2nd. You're tuned for the stars on NBC.
One Man's Family, brought to you by the makers of Fleischmann's Yeast and Royal Puddings. One Man's Family begins its 16th year in radio today by rededicating itself to the American home and to the mothers and fathers of the younger generation and to their bewildering offspring. Today we present Chapter 5, Book 62, entitled One Man's Family Celebrates its 15th anniversary.
From 1932 to 1947. Goodness.
That's right, Mom. From Herbert Hoover to Harry Truman.
From Flapper to Bobby Soxer.
From WPA to OPA.
Yes, Cliff, I was just going to say, from the Great Depression, when there was plenty of everything and no money to buy it, to plenty of money and nothing to buy.
1932 to 47. From the period of the great American isolation through our greatest war to our present conviction that we are part of the world community.
15 full years, 15 historical years, 15 dramatic years. The end of Prohibition, the Great Depression, the rise and fall of Hitler and Mussolini, the rise and fall of gang warfare in the United States.
The rise and fall of women's skirts and their rise again.
Yes, 15 years is a good long span.
Why, just imagine it. There are young men and women walking the streets today who can't remember time when one man's family didn't exist.
I can hardly remember myself. Yes, and through all these years, one man's family has had one central theme, one main purpose for being, the American home, the American family. The paramount thought being that so long as the American family survived, these United States would remain safe and secure. Oh, yes. Throughout the years, one man's family has meant many things to many people. There was, for instance, the wife who wrote that her husband's last deathbed request was to hear the Barbours, and afterwards closed his eyes and went to sleep. And the young man who was arrested in Chicago for purse snatching, only he said he didn't do it, that he was listening to one man's family at the time. And he told the judge the story of that week so completely that he was acquitted. And the convict in the South Carolina prison, who always heard the show because the Barbours were the kind of family he had always meant to have. But somehow the penitentiary got him. And then there was the father in the Middle West, who gave his children their choice of listening to one man's family on Sunday or attending church. And best of all, many an American soldier who had been brought up on the family, who became a most ardent audience away from home, not only because it gave him a taste of the home life that he was missing, but because he knew his own family at home also was listening. Yes, the show has meant many things to many people, but always, somehow, some way, it has been tied close to the home and the family, and the good which they bring out in all of us.
Henry.
Yes, as I was saying...
Henry.
Yes? What is it, Fanny?
Well, it's time for you to stop talking. Ken Carpenter has something to say.
Huh?
Ken Carpenter.
Oh, by George, now, yes. Well, as soon as you've heard Mr. Carpenter, you'll hear the principal portion of our 15th anniversary celebration. All right, Mr. Carpenter, move right along. No nonsense about it.
On the American table, the breadbasket or plate is one of the busiest, most popular dishes. Sweet rolls, cinnamon buns, coffee rings for breakfast, Parker House rolls, and so on for the other meals. All nutritious, all nourishing, all delicious. If you bake at home, use Fleischmann's yeast to give your rolls lightness, even texture, and especially delicious flavor. It's the amazing little powerhouse that brings the dough to life, adds flavor to all the other ingredients. Yes, Fleischmann's yeast has been America's dependable standby for the past 4 generations. Great-grandmother used Fleischmann's, and her baking was famous. And ever since then, year in, year out, Fleischmann's yeast has been the leader. So today, Fleischmann's familiar label is the symbol for top baking results. Results you can always be proud of. Ask for Fleischmann's yeast if you bake at home. Now I'm going to turn the show over to Paul.
Thank you. As we said in the opening today, on the beginning of our 16th year, we are rededicating one man's family to the American home and the American family. For 15 years, this has been our principal theme, as we're going to demonstrate for you in a moment. But first, may I suggest that today, more than any time in your memory or mine, the need for the home and what the home stands for is most vital. That now, if ever, there is need for the moral strength, the unswerving integrity, the basic Christian ethics and tenets, which are the stuff the American home is made of. We hope to prove to you the urgent, crying need for a revitalized family life today. And now, to go far back into the pages of one man's family. This is what we said on April the 6th, 1934. Clifford, please.
In these United States, we pride ourselves that all men are born free and equal, that there is no royal family set apart from the rest of us. I think this is a mistake. I think there's a touch of royalty in every conservative, firmly established American home. I believe the children of these homes are born to the purple. They have behind them glory and honor and dignity and tradition. Just as surely as empires were molded by the will of kings, so this nation is molded by the will of the American family. And just as surely as empires crumbled under the touch of dissolute, degenerate monarchs, so this nation will fall away with the corruption of the American family.
So, a bit of something to think about.
You know, I can remember Dad saying that to us way back there, just as plain as though it was yesterday. 1934. Goodness, Cliff, you and I weren't dry behind the ears yet.
You couldn't have told us that then.
How true, how true.
Goodness, we were young.
You were young. What does that make me?
Bottle baby, no doubt.
Well, that's what we said in 34. And now, here is what we said in 1936. Mom, will you do the honors?
Already, Paul?
Here, Mom, put on your glasses.
Oh, goodness. Where's that copy you gave me, Paul?
Right in your hands, Mother.
Of course. Now, Paul.
Yes. This is what we said in 1936.
Marriage is the gateway through which a man or woman obtains personal experience in the field of human relations. Parenthood is the opportunity for putting that experience to practical use. Parents should not say, we shall have children because it is our God-given right, but rather we shall have children because we are able to give them intelligent, physical, mental, and moral training. Mother love may be beautiful, but mother love combined with intelligent discipline is the force which turns children into normal human beings and good citizens. Misdirected and misguided offspring results in one of civilization's most appalling wastes and expensive problems. For an undisciplined, unprincipled child grows into a useless citizen, another human life wasted, another burden for civilization to bear. Good citizens are necessary to civilization, but good parents are obligatory if civilization is to continue.
Exactly.
You still agree to that, huh, Dad?
More than ever.
Oh, yes. What a waste of time and effort and pain and worry to go to all the trouble of conceiving and bringing a child into the world only to abandon him to indolence, dishonor, and disreputable habits.
And yet I think I'm going to be able to bring you proof that this is exactly what a large portion of our parents are doing.
Oh, no, Paul.
Well, don't rush me. We'll get to that presently. Just now, Claudia, you're going to read us what we said about family life in June of 1937.
What Dad said.
Huh?
See if you remember saying this 10 years ago.
Ooh.
In this day, with gods of finance and the gods of power tumbling in a shower of unutterable chaos on every side, and with the very foundation of nations trembling on the brink, it is only natural that each of us should be looking for something firm, something staunch, something honest to which we can cling, something that neither fire nor flood, nor earthquake, nor avarice, nor greed, nor war, nor the rumor of war, can shake from its deep-rooted foundation. What is that something? In these United States, we have the American family. So long as the American family shall live, with its wholesomeness, with its ideals, and its basic principles of discipline and citizenship, we have little to fear. But once let the family life of America lose its own self-respect, and the fate descending on Germany and Italy will be a small catastrophe indeed, compared to the bitterness, the affliction, and the desolation which shall encompass us. Therefore, when we bring you the saga of the Barbour family, we do more than tell a story. We pay tribute to the American family way of living, and we hope, in some small extent, extol its virtue and unveil its weaknesses.
You remember saying that, Dan?
Huh? I don't remember, but I'll be very happy to take the credit for it.
He said it's all right. The sort of thing he was always preaching to you children.
With excellent results, I'd say.
Yes, I guess some of it soaked in.
Yes. There were times, however, when I felt as if I was pouring water on a duck's back.
Well, now we come to the year 1940.
The year before the war.
The year before we got into it.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Hazel, will you read us what we had to say about family life in 1940?
Yes, Paul. Mother Nature, who is an elemental old lady and interested only in fundamentals, requires of the human organism but three functions: to be born, to reproduce its kind, and to die. That is all any of us need to do to satisfy the laws of nature. But somewhere along the rugged pathway which represents the evolution of man, this superior creation of nature picked up a spark of fire, a spark burning so fierce and hot that with each advancing generation it has increased in its intensity. A spark so burning with promise, so glowing with hope, that it has driven the human race far beyond nature's elemental requirements of birth, reproduction, and death. It has made man stand straight and look toward heaven. It has made him think. It has stirred his imagination and given him glimpses of greatness and genius. It has made him consider his kind, cultivate humanity, understand the value of beauty and love and goodness. And greatest of all, it gave him the power of conceiving and creating the family home as we know it today, the greatest, the most important of all man's creations. That is, the home.
I say that's an excellent thought.
Man's greatest achievement, the home. That's okay.
I want you to notice the difference between what Hazel just read out of 1940 and what I'm going to ask Nicky to read out of 1941. There's a sort of calmness and sense of security in Hazel's words. Now listen to what Nicky reads just a year later. Please, Nicky.
Right on. Today, the American family as a unit of society is more precious, more deserving of care and cultivation, and at the same time in more danger than at any other period in our national history. For we can promise you that out of the welter of strife and disorder in which the world is now engaged is coming great change. Practically nothing will be the same. We have seen one government after another submerged. We have seen peace-loving people forced to pull the plow out of the furrow and beat it into an implement of war. Right here in these Americas, we have seen, in a few months, weakling airplane factories blossom into a gigantic major industry. Shipyards which haven't turned out a vessel in years suddenly bursting into life and energy. We've seen our men in uniform again, marching up and down. We've made Iceland an outpost, and our South American neighbors have suddenly become nearer and dearer. And in the plethora of jobs, the WPA has become one of the dodo birds of the past. And wages have gone up, and prices have gone up, and everywhere there is change, change, change. The government is modified to meet these times. Our banking system is modified, and our tax laws are modified. And our institutions of learning are modifying their views And every other institution, by reason of necessity or convenience or circumstance, is modifying its activities. Even the minds of men are thinking new thoughts, uncertain thoughts, worried thoughts, but still new thoughts. The businessman, the laboring man, the farmer, the industrialist, the politician, all are sitting in the anxious seat of change and uncertainty. And there is only one place where the American man may go for refuge, for comfort, for security: the bosom of his family, the American family. Nations may fall, institutions be dissolved, great men be brought to their knees. But so long as the American father can close the door of his home against the world, so long as the American mother can gather her children about her to love them and teach them, so long as the American child can have the granite solid foundation of the home to cling to, family love to warm the heart, and family continuity to give him a belief in and a hope for the future, all is not lost. In a word, so long as the American home exists, America itself exists. But beware, the American family is not modified with the changing of other institutions. There is the danger. It must be warmed and watched and nurtured as never before, lest it slip through our fingers and is gone, as many other things are being lost to us in these restless, urgent days.
Beautifully done, Nicholas. Oh, yes.
But did you notice the urgency, the sense of a need for preserving something important?
Yes. What I read had a feeling that we possessed something precious. What Nicky read hinted at a dread of losing it.
Yes, there was undoubtedly a great transition in American living from the early part of 1940 to the end of 1941.
Oh, there was indeed.
And now we come to 1947.
Oh, we're jumping the war years completely?
Yes, we're doing that deliberately. What we feared, what we dreaded might happen in 1941 is becoming a reality in 1947. Hazel, will you read this letter which we received a few weeks ago? When you've read it, I'll explain further.
Miss Paul. Office of the Director, Federal Bureau of Investigation, United States Department of Justice, Washington, D.C., March 29, 1947. Dear Mr. Barbour, on Sunday afternoon, March 23rd, I listened to One Man's Family, as is my custom on Sunday, whenever it is possible to sit down with a radio. I did want to drop this personal note to tell you how deeply I appreciate the splendid manner in which you developed the necessity of building up the home and the need for emphasizing constructive family life. I thought the program was particularly well done. The need is so great that this point cannot be stressed too frequently, and possibly by constant emphasis an impression can be made. With best wishes and kind regards, sincerely yours, J. Edgar Hoover.
Hey, a pat on the head right from the top.
Golly.
But that's not the point. The important thing is that even our leaders in Washington are worried about the American family and the carelessness and laxity of today's parents. And just to emphasize Mr. Hoover's point, and to demonstrate what One Man's Family is still emphasizing after 15 years, I want to repeat what was said by Jack and Dad on the show of March 23rd. Go ahead, Jack.
Dad, you've had more than 50 years now of being a family man.
Yes.
What do you think of it?
Huh?
Would you devote yourself to a wife and home and family if you had it all to do over?
What a question.
You would?
Certainly, with all my heart.
You really honestly feel that the end achieved is worth all the years of trouble and effort it takes?
I do.
Well, there are a lot of people in the United States who don't think like that.
Well, you mark my words, Jack. If American home and family life fall into disrepute, then the people of this nation are going to feel real tragedy. Because if we lose our ideals and our humanity and our godliness and our love of justice, which are the virtues taught in the home, if we lose all these, then we're a nation without a heart. We're a ship without a rudder. And just as surely as you and I are standing here, we'll drift into the chaos that has fallen upon the rest of the world. We'll be a people at the mercy of tyrants. In one generation, we'll be an ignorant, drifting, helpless people. A nation at cross purposes. A lost nation, ready to be swallowed up by the first outside power to come along.
Dad, you really feel the American home and family is that important?
The American home is the backbone of this nation. The American family is the lifeblood of American democracy, the seed of our way of life. If we let that seed die, if we kill the divine spark, then we've killed America.
Well, when you come to think of it, that's one of the first things Hitler did in Germany. Broke up families, made a mockery of marriage and home ties, put a prize on license and illegitimacy.
Yes, I'll never believe that the great body of America will give way to any such business.
And I quite agree with you, Henry. We'll never fall to such a level.
Of course not.
Naturally.
Are you also sure about that?
Hey, of course.
Huh?
What are you driving at for?
Well, now we come to the climax of this whole business. In the March 24th issue of Life magazine, there was an editorial headed The Family. I'm going to read you a portion of that editorial, and if when I'm finished, you still feel so smug and secure in where we're headed, I'll be interested in hearing you say so.
In heaven's name, for readers, what is it?
It begins this way. There is strong evidence that the institution of the family, not only in the United States, but throughout Western civilization, is at a crisis. Some people are more alarmed about it than others, but certain statistics are painful indeed. For instance, 1 out of 3 American marriages now ends in divorce. John Haynes Holmes, on a recent radio broadcast, said,
"What's wrong with marriage, you ask? Our society is sick. Our social order is going to pieces."
And a few days before that, Dr. Carl Zimmerman, Harvard sociologist, told the American Social Hygiene Association,
Evidence indicates that our middle-class family system has reached its maximum demoralization, or will very soon. If left alone, the family system will break up before the end of the century.
The family is not a biological necessity. Primitive man thought that birth was a matter of the seasons, and it was not until he became better informed that he assumed responsibility toward his offspring. Once he did so, the family became the basis of human society. And the metabolism of the family has measured the health of Western civilization ever since it began some 3,000 years ago. Professor Zimmerman points out that
the Western family has collapsed twice before. In Greece about 300 B.C. and in Rome about 300 A.D. In each case marking the decline of those states. Both times the manifestations were the same. 1, almost universal corruption and disregard of the marriage agreement. 2, vanishing birth rate. 3, denigration of parents. 4, juvenile and adult delinquency.
It remained for our own epoch to give the family its first legal kicks in the teeth, when in France in 1791 and Russia in 1917, the familial legal system was temporarily overthrown by revolutionary governments. Nevertheless, the body of Western common law strongly supports the institution of the family. In the frequently cited language of Justice Birdseye of the New York State Supreme Court of 1857,
the family is the origin of all society and of all government. The whole frame of government and laws has been said to exist only to protect and support the family.
The bad news. Most social scientists are agreed that the family, particularly the American family, needs all the support and protection it can get right now. Some of them point out that our family system is undergoing the Greco-Roman style of dissolution in all its 4 tragic phases. 1, we are witnessing an intercontinental divorce spree, and the all-round champion is the United States, where about 1 urban marriage in 2 goes on the rocks, thus approximating the record hung up by the Bolshevik free lovers prior to Russia's familial reformation of 1936. And nobody knows how many American upper-middle-class families are precariously held together because the partners feel that the Internal Revenue Bureau doesn't leave them enough money to support separate establishments. The morality of this situation is no less extraordinary than the statistics. As Dr. Holmes has truly said,
when a woman takes a 4th husband who is finding in her a 5th wife, they have no more to do with marriage than prostitution has to do with chastity.
2, the sociologists draw another parallel between the classical and the current family crisis in the international sit-down strike against motherhood, which has been accelerating since the Industrial Revolution. Here again, the United States is well up front. 44% of our families have no children at all, and 22% have only 1. At this rate, the United States will begin losing population by 1980. 3, sociologists Austin L. Porterfield and H. Ellenson Sally find the old sex morals so broken among all ages and classes that...
It is becoming increasingly difficult to define sex delinquency, and perhaps meaningless to try to do so, except in certain types of behavior involving cruelty and exploitation.
4, if parents are showing less respect for children, children in the classic mode are showing less for parents and everybody else. J. Edgar Hoover's number 1 job is protecting our atomic secrets. Number 2 is curbing juvenile crime. The recent batch of laws requiring premarital health inspection and cooling off periods prior to marriage licensing are nothing more than a recognition by the state of the decline of parental control. Why? As social scientists see it, the chief enemies of the Western family are the selfishness and brutality of our age. They see these qualities arising in part from our family degeneration and then returning to further the family's destruction. To some sociologists, incidentally, the wholesome family means a permanent pair of parents and at least 3 children. As an institution, of course, the family needs no defense. It is the traditional seat of humanitarianism in the human race, the center of all important informal child education and personality development. The wealth of nations does not consist in natural resources, but in the character of the people. No one can seriously deny that the family is the basic cell responsible for the production of those people and that character. Every remedy proposed for rescuing the family today was grasped at in one way or another by the Augustine Caesars in their attempt to restore the Roman family in the last 2 centuries of the empire. They may work now. They didn't work then. But if the sociologists offer us dubious hope, we can look elsewhere. The problem is moral as well as social. And what we have that the Greeks and Romans didn't have is a universal moral code, the most important of whose codicils is the definition of right and wrong, familial, no less than personal. The strongest foundation of Christian society and the Christian family is a Christian conscience and a Christian heart.
Huh? Why, if that's all we've got left, then it's time we all got down on our knees and prayed.
Yes.
Is it any wonder that we've made the home and the family our theme for 15 years?
And we'd better continue to do so now and so long as we're able.
We are dedicated and rededicated to its world without end. Amen.
Jack's favorite room in the house has always been the kitchen, especially when one of his sisters is cooking.
I won't be in the way, will I?
Not at all. You can put the groceries away.
Okay, on condition that I can talk as I do it.
I'd like to see anybody stop you.
Fleischmann's yeast goes in the refrigerator. Wonderful stuff, Fleischmann's yeast. I bet you'd be mighty proud of me if I thought up something like that, but kept on doing good in the world for 79 years.
I certainly would.
79 years.
And tops all the time.
That's what I mean. America's favorite yeast through 4 generations.
Just think of all the rolls and bread it's baked in that time.
Someday I'm going to figure out how many times they'd go around the moon. I suppose a roll is 4 inches long. How many inches around the moon?
Maybe you'd better figure something on Earth, Jack.
Okay. Figure all the people who've enjoyed those rolls and things made with Fleischmann's yeast. Why, standing shoulder to shoulder, they would cover continental United States. And Alaska, maybe.
And then some.
Boy, it's a lot of happiness all in one piece. And all from these yeast cakes.
Well, put them in the refrigerator. They're getting warm in your hand.
Let's see. 79 years times 3.
Yes, Fleischmann's yeast is first choice today, just as it has been for the past 4 generations. If you bake at home, make sure of the flavor that calls for more. Get Fleischmann's yeast. It's the amazing little powerhouse that brings the dough to life. It raises the dough, makes it light and airy, gives you even texture and delicious flavor. So follow great-grandmother's example. Look for the famous, familiar label. Ask your grocer for Fleischmann's yeast if you bake at home. You've just heard Chapter 5, Book 62 of One Man's Family, written and produced under the direction of Carlton E. Morse for the makers of Fleischmann's Yeast and Royal Puddings. Chapter 6, entitled This Business of Nicolette Moore, will come to you next week at this same hour. You're worried because food bills seem to be getting higher and higher? Well, then make a note of this. Royal puddings still cost only a few pennies a serving. And what a grand dessert they are. Royal puddings taste more delicious, say 8 out of every 10. Yes, when 1,052 Royal users told why they switched to Royal from other popular brands, Royal puddings taste more delicious, said 8 out of every 10. You'll surely agree when you try Royal butterscotch pudding. You'll marvel that a dessert so rich and flavorful, so downright delicious, actually costs only a few pennies a serving. Royal puddings are so easy to make, too. Take no sugar. So no wonder women buy more Royal puddings than any other kind. Be smart. Serve Royal puddings several times a week. You have 3 tempting flavors to choose from. And remember, they cost only a few pennies a serving. One Man's Family comes to you from California. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
One Man's Family, brought to you by the makers of Chase and Sanborn Coffee and Fleischmann's Yeast. One Man's Family is dedicated to the mothers and fathers of the younger generation and to their bewildering offspring. Today we present Chapter 13, Book 64, entitled, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. Well, tonight is the annual Barbours Christmas Eve celebration, when the tree is decorated and loaded down with gifts and mementos of the season. That will be this evening, but this afternoon, Clifford, Jack, and Nicky have gone into the country and selected this year's Yuletide tree, and are now back at the family home, preparing it to be placed in its traditional corner of the big living room.
All right, Jack. Hold up the butt end while I nail these cross pieces on, huh?
Yeah, sure.
Let's see, where's Father Barbour?
I don't know. Usually around supervising this part of the activity.
Mom took him downtown by the ear for some last-minute shopping.
Oh, look here, not actually.
Uh-huh. He was supposed to have bought something weeks ago, and Mom just found out he hadn't done it.
Did she really take him by the ear?
Well, anyway, figuratively.
Mother Barbour's just the little lady who can do it. How about another nail about here, Cliff?
Yeah. Look out for your finger.
Yeah, I'd say that was pretty solid. Can we take the tree inside now? Sure, why not? Well, if Mother Barbour's out.
Oh, that's okay. She rearranged the furniture in the living room for the tree. She knew we'd be bringing it in.
Oh, and what's holding his back?
Righto.
Well, you two bring the tree, and I'll bring the piano wire and the tools and open the door for you.
Up you come.
Isn't a Christmas tree to end all Christmas trees?
Watch your steps. You don't stumble.
We'll have to cut a couple of feet off the top. Hey, hold it till I get the door. The door must be locked.
No, it's okay. Just caught for a moment.
Okay, Nicky, let's go.
Right behind you.
Tight squeeze.
Easy with it. We mar the woodwork or the hall paper, and we'll have Mom on our necks.
We will that.
What's going on out here? I say, what's going on out here? Get away, Cousin Jedediah. What sort of lame brain tricks you young folks up to now?
Now, back up, will you, Cousin Jedediah?
Bringing firewood in the front door.
Easy now when you make the turn through the arch into the living room.
Yeah. Bringing dim-wit firewood right into the front room. How's it back there, Nicky? You hitting anything?
It'll be all right, I think. But go slow.
Your mama's not going to like this, Clifford.
Easy there, Jack.
Yeah. Your mama's not going to like this, Jack.
Hold it. Cliff, that limb's going to hit the table lamp. No, wait.
I got it. All right, go ahead.
Fanny's not going to like this, Nicholas.
Just take it right over to the corner and set your end down about 6 feet from the walls, Jack.
Yeah, okay. The minute Fanny steps out of the house, folks start carrying firewood into her front room.
Okay, I guess we can set it up now.
Green firewood.
Are you ready, Jack?
Yeah, set her up. Green firewood with the limbs still on.
Okay, Nicky, up with it.
Right up. Okay, here we go.
I suppose you're going to saw her up right here in the living room.
I don't think the top's going to touch the ceiling. Easy, though.
Yep.
Leave it to the young'uns. When the cat's away, the mice will play.
Well, how is it? It's going to be just right.
Old saying, when the cat's away, the mice will play.
Well, I say that's just about perfect. Tassel missing the ceiling about 8 inches.
Oh, it's just right for that big electric star.
That's their old saying. When the cat's away, the mice will play.
Oh, hello, Cousin Jedediah.
But you say hello now, for I've been here for days.
Really?
Didn't you hear me talking to you?
Well, we were busy setting up the tree.
Fanny won't like this.
Why not, Cousin Jedediah?
Fanny won't like this, Jack.
Oh, you want to bet on it?
Bringing green firewood in her living room.
Oh, but see here, Cousin Jedediah, that's our Christmas tree.
No.
Certainly. Tomorrow's Christmas.
No.
Sure. Every Christmas Eve afternoon we put up a tree, and then this evening the whole family gathers and we decorate it and put on our presents.
You mean there's going to be presents?
Oh, hey, don't tell me you don't know about Christmas.
Been a long time, Clifford.
Don't tell me they don't have family Christmas parties back in Bloomington, Illinois.
Been a long time. Last Christmas tree I had was when I was maybe 12 years old.
No kidding.
Last lame-brain Christmas tree I had, I was maybe only 10 years old.
Well, we'll certainly have to make up to you.
Last Christmas tree, I was maybe only 8 years old.
Hey, don't look now, but your age is shrinking.
Last Christmas tree,
Well, you'll get a big kick out of tonight, then.
Who's going to be Santa Claus?
Why,
I know already. You don't have to tell me. I am going to be Santa Claus.
Oh, look here.
But, Cousin Jedediah, we don't have a Santa Claus. When we do it...
What kind of a half-wit Christmas party you call that? Of course there's a Santa Claus.
But we have a traditional way
I'll be Santa Claus gladly. Carry a big pack on my back.
But, Cousin Jedediah...
Distribute the presents.
But all the presents
Come down the chimney. Jolly old cuss. Make the children laugh.
But if you'd let us
Always
explain...
wanted to be Santa Claus. All my life I wanted to be a Santa Claus.
Well, couldn't you...
I tried in a department store. They wouldn't have me.
Oh, no kidding.
Tried the Salvation Army. They wouldn't have me.
Well, maybe it's your voice.
Wrote the Santa Claus Lane Parade in Hollywood. Never got an answer. Even offered to furnish my own Santa Claus suit complete with patent leather boots, red stocking cap, and a 2-foot snow-white beard. Nobody'd have me.
Jove, that's tragedy.
Even offered to furnish my own pillows to give me a prouder stomach.
Did you say prouder stomach?
Real genuine goose feather pillows.
And they still wouldn't take you?
Genuine goose feather pillows. Handed down through the family from mother to son for I don't know how many lame-brain generations.
Well, that's all very tragic, Cousin Jedediah, but if you come busting in tonight playing Santa Claus and throwing our old traditional routine out of kilter, Dad's not going to like it.
Your father's a fine man, Clifford. Hank's a fine man.
And he's still not going to like it.
Tickle him to death to see me in my Santa Claus outfit. Tickle him to death. Oh, Hank's a fine man.
Surprise, 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 and you don't have to wait until Christmas. The new improved Chasen Sanborn is here right now. The most satisfying coffee you ever tasted. So, taste it now. Nobody can tell you how greatly the new Chasen Sanborn is improved. Call it twice as good or 10 times as good. Say that it's the richest, most flavorful coffee money can buy. And that still means taste it, because this is an amazing new coffee experience. Lift the cup to your lips. That's the only way. Take a sip of this new blend. That first swallow is like money from home. We're getting finer coffees now, so you're getting more glorious flavor. At its best, vacuum-packed. As soon as the new Chasen Sanborn is roasted, this added goodness, multiplied in the blending, is quickly sealed in. No other container ever invented can give you so much flavor. Taste it. Ask your grocer for improved Chasen Sanborn, the new coffee sensation. Well, it's Christmas Eve at the Barbours. The great Yule log's been placed on the fire and will burn all tonight and all day tomorrow. There's a shower of crystal and red and blue ornaments already on the tree, and a smell of fir boughs and spice and cider and other Christmas night perfumes. And the excitement and good cheer among the Barbours, young and old, is something to behold as they put the final decorations on the great tree.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle bells.
Hey, quiet, will you? Quiet, everybody. Quiet. Quiet. Come on, slow down now. Settle down.
Pinky, be yourself.
Oh, yeah? Hey, Pink, if you and Joan want to have a giggle station, just go on out in the hall.
We were just holding a conversation.
Consisting mostly of giggle, and oh, yeah?
Well, if I may have the attention of you all, I would like to call the roll for a report on Christmas tree fixtures.
Where's Cousin Jediah?
He's upstairs putting on his Santa Claus suit.
Oh, no.
He's been upstairs putting it on since 4 o'clock this afternoon. And if he never gets it on, it'll suit me.
Well, that's got nothing to do with tree decorations. Mom, you had charge of popcorn balls.
Well, the popcorn balls are all made and hanging on the tree, with the exception of the ones eaten by my son-in-law, Nicholas Lacey, and my daughter-in-law, Betty Carter Barbour.
I would have sworn, but it's only Phil said that this is delectable tidbit.
We call them popcorn balls over here. Betty, did you eat a Christmas tree decoration?
I confess, I did it with my pearly white teeth and my ruby red lips.
All right. Margaret, you were in charge of stringing popcorn on string.
Well, there they are. The tree's all covered with them.
Short and to the point.
Yeah. Dad, you were in charge of the cotton snow under the tree and the silver rain on the tree.
Yes, cotton snow is under the tree, silver rain is on the tree.
Dan Murray.
Present.
You were in charge of all breakable ornaments.
That's right.
What's your report?
That considerable breakable ornaments have been broken. I brought the report that all that remain whole are now in place on the tree and give it a highly festive atmosphere. Huh? Don't take so much credit to yourself, Dagmar.
I should say not. I was in charge of the tinsel and papier-mâché drapes, and they look pretty doggone good themselves.
They're all on plot?
Every single one of them.
Joan, are all your silver and blue bells on that tree?
All tinkle bells present and accounted for.
Hazel, you were in charge of all decorations excepting the tree.
It's a pleasure to report there is a holly wreath in each of the front windows and one on the front door.
Beautiful, too.
Oh, thank you, Mother. Also, there are spruce boughs decorating the stair railing, along with a great big Christmas stocking with each person's name on it.
Yeah, they're full of nuts and candy and oranges and one for everybody.
Have you been peeking?
Sure I have, Mom.
Well, that's my effort. Oh, yes, the decorations over the fireplace were in my department, too.
Well, I think we can give our sister Hazel a big hand.
Well, how nice.
And now, Jack and Nicholas, who represent our electrical committee.
Well, first I'd like to say that anybody who steps on one of our light cords and causes a short circuit will have his favorite present taken off the tree and jumped up and down on by me personally.
Nicky, anything to add?
Well, by all means.
Oh, Nicky wants to make a speech, you know that, Cliff.
Well, ignoring a bit of wifely impertinence, I wish to report that all the regular tree lights are in place as usual. And I'd like you to note at the tip of the tree a new Star of Bethlehem, which I was at great pains to obtain, and which I think will dominate the tree once the lights are turned on.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Sure, turn on the lights. Let's start getting the presents on.
We want presents. We want presents. We want presents. Hey, quiet. Quiet. Hush. There's one more committee. The Midnight Snack and Eats Committee. Headed up by Betty.
That's my wife you're talking about.
Yep, mother of 3 beautiful daughters.
Yep, all tucked in for the night, dreaming beautiful Christmas dreams.
Hey, I thought Aunt Betty was going to talk about food. I am, Pinky. After all the presents have been brought out and put on the tree, there will be a buffet supper consisting of... That's right, and a big... You've been peeking.
Popcorn balls.
Hey, anyway, for drinks?
Coffee.
Sure, coffee, but...
Apple cider.
Right, and for dessert...
Fruitcake.
Hey, who's the committee around here anyway?
Okay, so much for committee reports. Now we're ready to turn on the tree lights.
Okay, hold it, everybody. All right, Nicky, turn out the living room lights.
Living room lights going out.
Dark. Give me your hand, Grandmother.
Yes, Margaret.
Okay, now on with the Christmas tree lights.
Christmas tree lights coming up. 1, 2, 3. There.
Oh, we
we've never had a prettier tree. Never.
Hey, why doesn't Cousin Jediah come on down? He's missing all the fun.
Yes, Henry, it's too bad. What's he doing?
Putting on his confounded Santa Claus suit.
Yeah, but what's taking him so long?
Henry, you'd better go up and see if he's all right and persuade him to come down.
Huh? If he hasn't sense enough to come down,
I'll go up, Mom. I'll be right back down. All right, okay now, everybody. The next step is for everybody to make himself comfortable in front of the fire for the ceremony of putting the presents on the tree. Hey, somebody get the sleigh bell.
Poor old Santa Claus.
Alton, give the password.
May I come in, Cousin Jediah?
That you, Jack?
Yeah.
Come in. Halt. Get the password. Old Spanish war custom.
Hey, Cousin Jediah, you're missing all the excitement and fun downstairs. Come on down.
If I'm going to be Santa Claus, I'm going to be Santa Claus the way he ought to be.
Oh, but you don't have to be Santa Claus.
Oh, dim-wit Santa Claus for me. You think I want to play Santa Claus with the suit busting at the seams?
Oh, is that what's happening?
You think I want to play Santa Claus with buttons busting off and flying around like a prize fighter teeth?
I wondered what the needle and thread were for.
Think I want to play Santa Claus with the seat of his pants all let out by mothballs?
Oh, not mothballs.
Yes, sir, mothballs. Look at the seat of them trousers.
Yeah, but you'll be up here all night sewing it.
I can sew.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Taught by my mother. Sew, mend, darn. Don't worry about me, I can sew.
But you're missing out on the family party.
I can sew.
Well, I gotta go back down. Why don't you come with me?
Have a little trouble threading my needle sometimes.
Well, have a good time. I gotta get back. Come on down anytime you feel like it.
And this is how we'll bring the presents out. Each family group will take these sleigh bells, yes, and leave the room and go get their presents. When they are ready to return to this room with them, ring the bells and shout, "Close your eyes." Then everyone must close his eyes while the presents are brought in and distributed on the tree. Are there any questions?
Uncle Paul usually said all that. Where is he?
Yes. We don't know where your Uncle Paul is tonight. We hope he's in good health. And we know that he is thinking about us as we are thinking about him.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, Jack, did you see Cousin Jediah?
Oh, he won't budge until he gets his Santa Claus suit sewed up.
Gets it sewed up.
I'm afraid he's had it a long time. It's moth-eaten, coming out at the seams, buttons popping off.
Huh? Didn't you tell him to forget it and come on down?
He's going to be Santa Claus or bust.
Oh, that seems kind of pathetic.
Well, if it is, he doesn't know it.
Well, we got to get the ceremony started. Now, who's going to be first? Who wants the sleigh bells first?
Henry, why don't you and I start things off this year?
If you wish.
Okay, Mother Barbour. Here are the sleigh bells.
Hey, I think I'll go along with you folks.
Why, Clifford?
Well, I was going with Skippy, but since he and Fanny fell by the wayside and had to be put to bed, I think I'll go with you.
Here, come along, boy. Come along. We'll let your mother carry the sleigh bells, and we'll carry the presents.
How could Skip and Penny go to sleep on a night like this?
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Poor babies. They've been anticipating tonight so hard they just couldn't take it.
I don't suppose popping out of bed at 5 o'clock this morning helped any.
Can you imagine? They woke up at 5 this morning to be sure and be ready for tonight.
And then both of them fell fast asleep by 7 o'clock.
Well, that's life.
Hey, they're coming. There's the bells.
Oh, they're certainly wasting no time.
Grandmother had hers and Grandfather's presents all laid out on her bed.
Oh, peeking, huh?
No, Dad, not really.
Close your eyes, here we come.
Everybody close his eyes.
They're closed, Grandfather.
Come along, Fanny, come along, Fanny.
Well, come along yourself, Henry, and watch where you're walking.
But keep those eyes closed now. Here we come.
Fanny, you buy heavier presents every year. I swear you do.
Well, you handle them with care. Now, easy down on the floor.
Yes.
I said easy.
Well, my dear woman, when the laws of gravity step in, I have nothing more to do with the matter.
Well, I've got my presents on. Can I help pick up, Mom?
Well, you'd better. Your father's no yup at all.
I like that. Who thought up Christmas presents anyway?
Well, it wasn't you.
Oh.
There. Hey, I think that's everything.
All right, open your eyes and bless you all.
Oh, I say, what beautiful packages.
Mother, they're lovely.
I say, Claudia, are our wrappings as good looking?
Oh, fine thing. Now you know who wrapped the packages in our house.
Well, who's going next?
Well, Nicky and Claudia, let's go next.
Sure, why not?
How about it, Margaret?
Sure, that's okay. I just want to sit and look at the presents. They're wonderful.
Yeah, the Daniel Murray branch of the family will go right after you folks.
Righto. Joan, the sleigh bell.
Okay. Come on, our presents are just down in the hall closet where we brought them over this evening.
We'll only be a moment, so be prepared to close your eyes.
You can trust us.
And still no Cousin Jediah.
That man. I stopped by and knocked on his door when I was upstairs just now.
What happened?
Well, I said, for heaven's sake, Jediah, come on down and join the fun.
Turns you down, huh?
Oh, he said, coming, Fanny, old Santa's coming.
The fellow's eccentric.
Oh, he's a sweet old guy. The more I see of him, the more I enjoy having him around.
Hey, that's the front doorbell. Henry, maybe it's Paul.
Huh? I'll go see. Excuse me, Aunt Betty.
Oh, that's all right. I've been walked on before.
Coming. Hey, tell Aunt Claudia and Uncle Nicky not to come in till I get back.
Claudia, where are you going?
I'll be right down, Nicky. I want to see if I can get Cousin Jediah downstairs.
Well, hurry it up.
He's just got to come down. Cousin Jediah.
Coming. Santa Claus is coming any minute now.
May I open the door?
Gladly.
Oh, Cousin Jediah, come on down, please.
Let's see now. Which one are you?
I'm Claudia.
No.
Please, don't sit there sewing on that old moth-eaten Santa Claus suit.
No, not Claudia.
You won't come?
Not Claudia. Margaret?
You're mixed up. Margaret's Hazel's little girl. Oh, come, put that down and come with me.
Oh, won't be long now. Old Santa'll be coming down the chimney any minute now.
Claudia!
Well, I can't wait. But please, come on. The whole family's having a wonderful time. Come and be with us.
It's a cablegram to the whole family.
What in the world?
Nicky, bring that here. What did you say?
Yeah, look. A cablegram to the whole family.
It says to Fanny and Henry Barbour and the whole family.
Oh, sure. Come on, open it.
Here you are, Father.
Yes.
It must be from Paul. What does it say, Henry?
Yes, it's from Paul.
Well, what do you know?
This is as close as I can come to being with my family this Christmas. My whereabouts is being kept secret for purpose. But I can tell you that I'd rather be there with you tonight than where I am. Love to all. Paul.
Where do you suppose he is?
Probably India or China or Russia.
You're just guessing. Everything has been deleted that would give any indication.
Well, anyway, I feel as though we had part of him with us now.
Here we come. Everybody close his eyes.
Oh, here they come. Well, it took you long enough.
I say, close your eyes. We're about to make an entrance.
Santa Claus.
Nicky, if you could only see yourself packaged up to your eyebrows. Oh, my God, hang on to them.
I got him, Claudia.
Oh, good. My arms are so loaded. Here, put them all down in front of the tree, and then we can scatter them about.
Right. There.
Wait till everybody sees what we put on the tree. Well, hurry up so we can.
I say, let's shove all these large, cumbersome packages onto the tree.
Large, cumbersome packages, he says.
You mean cumbersome like a pair of table lamps for our living room?
Like an electric blanket for Dan's in my bed.
Listen to the people.
There. I guess everything's on.
Uh-huh. That's all.
Open your eyes and be glad. Look at the package.
Jeepers. Aunt Claudia and Uncle Nicky just slopped over with presents this year.
Golly, beautiful. All of the presents wrapped in silver and red paper. What an exciting array they made.
Yes. Christmas.
Okay, who's next?
How about our family?
Yes, let's go next. Come on, Dan. Come on, Mom.
Just a minute, darling. Uncle Jack and Aunt Betty haven't gone yet.
Oh, you folks go first.
Sure, you go first. Jack and I'll be last. Okay, here's a sleigh bell. May I carry them?
Go right ahead. Put them around your neck.
Oh, man, not around my neck.
All right, family, let's go get our presents.
I get to carry grandfather's and grandmother's presents. Oh, the heck you do. The heck I don't.
Boys, is that any kind of a conversation for potential Santa Claus?
Father and Mother Barbour's presents seem to be the choice morsels in the Daniel Murray family.
Naturally.
Henry, show Claudia and Nicholas the cablegram from Paul.
Cablegram?
Let's see, where is the old boy? Doesn't say. Just a Christmas greeting.
Cablegram? That's from across an ocean.
Sure. Well, at least he's thinking of us. When did it come?
While you folks were out for your presents.
Oh, yes, I went upstairs to see Cousin Jediah.
Still sewing on his Santa Claus suit, huh?
Oh, it's tragic. So cheerful and having such an awful time up there.
Well, if he won't come down, he won't come down, and you can't make him. He's a free agent.
Dan, let's go up and try to persuade Cousin Jediah.
No, I'm game. Margaret, you and Hank and Pinky get the presents out of the library and bring them into the hall.
Okay, Dan, but hurry it up.
Yes, we'll be up here only a minute.
This his room?
Mm-hmm.
Cousin Jediah.
Come in. Oh, it's you, Daniel. Oh, it's you, Hazel.
Cousin Jediah, for goodness sake, aren't you ever coming downstairs?
Be right along. Another half hour and I'll have the lame-brained Santa Claus suit sewed up.
But in another half hour...
Yep, another half hour and I'll have this lame-brained Santa Claus suit sewed up tighter than a sieve.
But you're missing out on all the fun.
Tighter than a sieve, as the saying goes. Tighter than a half-wit sieve.
Oh, it's useless, Hazel.
I'm afraid so.
Hey, Mom, Dad, come on.
We'll have to go.
I'll be right along. Old Santa Claus will be right along any time now.
You ever know anybody who lives in himself like that?
Seems quite happy and satisfied with the whole world.
Hey, Mom, you and Dad are holding up the works.
Yes, we're supposed to take our presents in.
Well, up with them then.
Yeah. That's your load, Dan. Mom, this is yours.
Can you pick them up? We've got our arms loaded.
Yes, I think I can carry these.
Well, okay, let's go. Here we come. Everybody close his eyes.
Here we come. Here we come. Everybody watch out for us.
Hank and Tinky, you put your packages in the branches of the tree.
Yeah, okay.
Watch out you don't disturb the decorations.
How about putting these boxes and round packages behind the tree?
Hey, whose present are you shoving behind the tree?
Not yours, Cliff.
No, I'm hanging yours in the tree right now, Aunt Betty.
Hey, Margaret, you're not supposed to say that.
Thank you for the tip-off, Margaret. There, that's all of them.
Oh, don't our presents make the tree look pretty?
May we open our eyes?
Sure. Open your eyes, everybody, and watch your mouth water. Beautiful, beautiful.
Fanny, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Okay, Uncle Jack and Aunt Betty, here are the jingle bells.
Oh, before Betty and I go out for our presents, we'd like to have Mom play our Christmas anthem.
Huh?
Uh-huh. Silent Night. We want that to come first for a special reason.
But that always comes after all the presents are on and just before we partake of the buffet supper.
Well, this time it's different, okay?
Huh? How about it, Fanny?
It's quite all right with me.
Hey, what have you two got up your sleeve?
That would be telling.
Light at the piano all right, Mother Barbara?
Yes, thank you, Nicholas.
All right, everybody, settle down.
Uh-huh. Everybody quiet.
Cousin Jedediah, is anything the matter?
Evening, Fanny. Evening, everybody.
This is a fine time to interrupt.
Evening, Hank. Evening, Claudia Margaret. Just come over me upstairs. What a spectacle I was making of myself.
What in the world?
If you'd wanted any dim-wit Santa Claus, you'd have probably had one.
Oh, that's all right.
Probably Hank would have dressed up.
If you
Maybe Clifford would have dressed up. Maybe Jack would have dressed up. Maybe Claudia Margaret would have dressed up. Just come to me upstairs. So I throwed the Santa Claus suit out the window.
Oh, why?
Throwed it out the window.
But you didn't need to do that.
Always a bridesmaid, but never a Santa Claus. Yes, sir. You can write that on my tombstone. Jedediah X. Barbour, always a bridesmaid, but never a Santa Claus.
Because this is a very special Christmas, the Barbours revive a very special version of a great holiday classic.
The title of our play is Ebenezer Scrooge Meets His Match, or Raising the Dickens with Dickens. Cliff plays the part of Scrooge.
Bah, humbug. If I could work my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stick of holly through his heart.
You nasty man.
Hazel is Mrs. Cratchit, and Nicky is Tiny Tim.
Oh, I say.
Christmas is all humbug. Tiny Tim is all humbug, too. Everything is all humbug.
Oh, you're all humbug yourself, Mr. Scrooge. Here now, sit down and have a slice of roast goose and dressing and gravy.
I hate roast goose.
Well, at least have a cup of coffee.
I hate coffee.
What? I say, Scroogey, would you? I'll wager you haven't tasted the new Chasten Sandburn coffee.
What's new about it?
Why, the flavor, of course. The new blend is so much improved, it's a new coffee experience.
Pass you a cup, old man. You'll say this is no end the richest, most flavorful coffee money can buy.
And don't say humbug, just taste it.
What can I lose?
There's sugar and cream.
Yes, the sugar won't do your disposition any harm.
My disposition.
Take a sip. Take a sip.
Well, what do you say, Mr. Scrooge?
Why, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Oh, my, what a wonderful day, what wonderful people, what wonderful coffee. Merry Christmas!
That's right, folks. Not even Scrooge himself can taste the new Chase and Sanborn without saying it's the most satisfying coffee he ever tasted. So taste it now. You get more flavor from finer coffees at its best and freshest. The new Chase and Sanborn is vacuum-packed at its flavor peak. No other container in the world can give you so much coffee goodness. Ask your grocer for improved Chase and Sanborn, the amazing new coffee sensation. You just heard Chapter 13, Book 64 of One Man's Family, written and produced under the direction of Carlton E. Morse for the makers of Chase and Sanborn Coffee and Fleischmann's Yeast. Chapter 14, entitled New Year's Eve with the Barbour Clan, will come to you next week at this same hour. Christmas dinner calls for something special on the bread plate, too. You have a big selection of delicious rolls and buns, sweet or plain, and a host of dessert breads to choose from. So make sure it's something that suits the grand occasion. If you bake at home, use Fleischmann's yeast for never-failing, praise-winning results. Fleischmann's yeast is the vital spirit of fine home baking, the one essential that glorifies all the other ingredients. It's the little spark plug that brings the dough to life, transforms it into tempting, nourishing, delicious food. Get Fleischmann's for quick, sure-rising action. It's your dependable, right-hand helper every step of the way. And when the baking is done, notice the even texture, the airy lightness of the rolls or whatever you've made. Taste their extra delicious flavor, thanks to Fleischmann's. Dependable, never-failing Fleischmann's gives you proud results every time. So every time, get Fleischmann's yeast, America's favorite for 80 years. One Man's Family comes to you from California.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
One Man's Family, winner of 46 national awards, a Carlton E. Morse creation. One Man's Family, now in its 26th year, is dedicated to the mothers and fathers of the younger generation and to their bewildering offspring. In 60 seconds, we'll hear Chapter 28, Book 129 of the Barbour family saga. But first, hear this. Almost everyone at some time suffers pain from headache, neuritis, or neuralgia, or muscle aches and pains. And people by the thousands today are using Anacin tablets instead of other methods for fast pain relief. You see, when headache strikes, pain builds up, tension makes you jittery, you feel depressed. Now, aspirin has only one pain reliever. Add a buffering action, and you still have only one. But Anacin is different. Anacin is like a doctor's prescription. That is, Anacin contains not just one, but a combination of medically proven active ingredients. 1, to relieve your pain. 2, to ease the nervous tension. 3, to help relieve those gloomy, depressed feelings. Anacin also leaves you more relaxed, with such a comfortable sense of well-being. 3 out of 4 doctors today recommend the famous ingredients of Anacin. So for pain relief of headache, neuritis, neuralgia, even for the temporary relief of minor pains of arthritis and rheumatism, remember, it's always Anacin. A-N-A-C-I-N.
You'll wonder where the yellow went.
Special sale. Save 27 cents on 2 giant tubes of Pepsodent. Today, Pinky offers a gift of charcoal in a snowstorm. It's moving day on the second floor of the Barbour family home in Seacliff, San Francisco. Hazel and Daniel Murray are leaving the apartment Father Barbour built for them to move to the former McGregor house, 13 doors up the street near the Golden Gate Bridge. Dan Murray, carrying a cardboard carton, passes the library where Father and Mother Barbour are waiting to say goodbye.
Hi there. 2 more boxes and then we're all through.
Hey, what is it, Henry?
Nothing.
You were going to say something. What was it?
I have never seen Daniel so happy in all the years I've known him.
Dan?
He took a carton out to the car.
I see. I can't find 2 of my sweaters. I wonder if he's got them.
Shall I ask him, Hazel, when he comes back?
No, I will. Thank you very much.
Quite welcome.
Hazel sounded a little cool.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, so did you.
Yes.
You haven't had any difficulty on this last day, Henry.
Interesting. When they went out to get cartons, they were unable to find any with lids on them except at liquor stores. Pardon me? That's either because the groceries cut the lids off or the liquor stores do a bigger business. I don't know which. I talked to the movers. Of course, they charge for their boxes.
You didn't answer my question.
Daniel, Hazel was calling for you. Something about 2 sweaters.
Oh, I'm going right back up there, Father Barbour. Away.
If you've had any sort of fuss with Hazel, I think it's very serious, Henry. And you'd better patch things up. What happened?
Oh, a sort of joke. I certainly didn't intend her to take it so seriously. As a matter of fact, I have said it once before, and she didn't take exception to it.
What? What was it?
Oh, I said... some reference was made to the heating system over in that mausoleum.
Did you call it a mausoleum?
No. I've been very careful not to. I always say your new house, or the McGregor house, or the Big White house. At any rate, something was said about the furnace over there in the wintry weather, and I said... Well, it was all in the spirit of jest, Fanny.
Can't you bring yourself to repeat it?
I said we would do nothing with their apartment here. We'd keep the key handy, and they could come over here and use it any time they wanted to get warm. That's all I said. Lightly. Smiled when I said it. And Hazel turned on a heel and went whisking upstairs.
I don't blame her a bit. The problem with the furnace is no laughing matter. It seems anything but good judgment to joke about it on their very last day in our house. I think you'd better do something about it.
Next to last carton.
Now, she's alone up there now. Go take her in your arms, Henry. This is about the hardest thing Hazel's ever had to do. Because she didn't want that house. She's doing it for Daniel.
Everything I say seems to be wrong.
Affection is never wrong. You don't have to apologize. Just express your love.
Well, you think they were moving to the North Pole?
That's a singularly unfortunate phrase, too.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Well, I'll do it. I was going to anyway. I've been thinking about it ever since I cracked my little joke. Hazel, busy? May I come up a moment?
Come up, Father.
Away. Yeah. Coming. Be right up.
We'll return in just a moment to One Man's Family.
Hey, Fran, think this rum will do?
What's up?
Swift has found a new way to make all-sweet margarine.
Oh?
And I'm announcing it with a big bass drum. Boom, boom, boom. Buy new all-sweet.
Really now, Clifford?
Well, you gotta make noise today. Boom, boom, boom. Or nobody will hear your commercial.
Have you tasted new all-sweet?
You're darn right I have. All-sweet's now made with the natural flavor formula for the most delicate natural flavor ever.
Why not just say that? Try new all-sweet because it's now made with the natural flavor formula for the most delicate natural flavor ever.
It won't work.
Clifford, you don't have to bang on a drum. Just ask women quietly to try new all-sweet because it's now made with the natural flavor formula for the most delicate natural flavor ever.
Oh.
And right now, Swift will pay them 15 cents to try new all-sweet. Details are on the package at their grocery.
Well, what'll I do with my big bass drum?
You'll wonder where the yellow went.
Special sale. Save 27 cents on 2 giant tubes of Pepsodent. And in the apartment on the second floor, which now looks barren, being denuded of pictures and bric-a-brac, Hazel is putting books and bookends into the last carton.
Hello, Father.
Hazel, my dear.
Now, please don't sympathize with me.
No, I wanted to explain my little joke.
I seem to be super sensitive about the furnace, and I'd rather forget the whole thing.
Yes. What I actually had in mind was...
Ready for the last one?
There it is, Dan.
Oh, Father Barbour, didn't see you. I was reminded by something you said this morning, sir. When I was a boy, my mother used to send me forth, if I had a hard job to do, with the phrase, come back with your shield or on it. If I remember, it's a phrase the Spartan women used when sending their men into battle. Well, I was thinking we've had a rugged few years, first in the furniture business and then starting the stores. Many's the time I thought I'd come home on the shield. But, by George, we did win through, didn't we, Hazel?
We did indeed, Dan.
And here we are with a big new house in my favorite residential section in all the world. And a chain of sporting goods stores, a business that delights me. Oh, by the way, Father Barbour. We may add our 7th store next month in Santa Rosa.
Oh, no.
Well, anyhow, my mother would be pleased to see us now in that handsome castle of a house. She'd say, well, Daniel, not a mark on you. And with your shield, I see.
Well, I guess we can go.
I was saying to Hazel, I don't know if I told you, sir, but so often in meetings with bankers and brokers and others, we'd get into personal things when the business was over. And I swear I could always feel it coming. Someone would be sure to ask where I lived, and when I'd say Seacliff, someone else always said, "Oh, did you build out there?" And then, of course, I have to say we live with my father-in-law. No way to explain what a happy arrangement it's been for everybody, and it has been, sir. Hazel and I hate to leave in a way.
In a way? Goodness, Dan, it's the end of an era.
Yes, but look what we're going to, the second biggest house in Seacliff.
Well, let's get started. We're keeping Father standing here.
No. Don't hurry. I was going to say something. Oh, now what was it? This has been happening to me lately. Something on the tip of my tongue, and it's gone.
Well, that has nothing to do with age. Happens to everybody.
Who mentioned age?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dan, well, it'll come to you, Father.
Oh, I know. I wanted to say to you both that we shall always consider this your apartment. Nothing will be done with it. We'll close it up. And if you ever care to come back...
Oh, no, you mustn't say that. Oh, no.
No, Hazel is quite right. We can never go back, you know.
I'd even feel superstitious if this apartment was sitting here with nobody in it. Oh, no, you must use it, Father. It's been a lovely place to live. And now we're moving on, aren't we, Dan, into another period. Thanks, Father. We both love you, and we're grateful.
We are indeed. Well, here we go. I'll take this one, and we'll say goodbye for the moment, sir. Away.
Goodbye, Father.
Yes.
More of the Barbours in just a moment. 1 dime. 1 nickel. That's all it takes. Takes for what? Well, it takes just 15 cents to learn how X-Lax can help you toward your normal regularity. 15 cents is the price of the introductory size.
You know, I've heard about X-Lax since I was a kid. Never got around to trying it somehow.
Well, you should. X-Lax is America's largest selling laxative. It's the laxative that helps you toward your normal regularity gently, overnight. You just take pleasant-tasting chocolated X-Lax at bedtime. It will not disturb your sleep. And it's so effective that the next morning you'll be well on your way toward your normal regularity. Seldom, if ever, will you need X-Lax the next day. So, when your system is irregular and you need a laxative, do what most people do. Take X-Lax. Take X-Lax today, feel better tomorrow. Remember, the introductory size costs just 1 dime and 1 nickel. Just 15 cents.
13 doors up at the former home of the now vanished McGregors, Dan and Hazel come into the big front hall with the last of their boxes.
Dan? Oh, it still echoes. I thought furniture would improve it.
All we need is wall-to-wall carpeting. That'll soak up the sound. Don't you worry, Hazel. I'll solve this problem as I solved all... Potted plants.
Why, Dan, it's a Chinese herb garden.
Here's a note.
How thoughtful.
Oh, it's from Pinky. Dear Mom and Dan, if all goes well and I live through this coming weekend, I'll give you wall-to-wall carpeting as a housewarming present. Meanwhile, the Chinese have a saying, a gift of charcoal is welcome in a storm. Well, here's to better things to come. Love, Pinky.
If he lives through this weekend...
Well, that's a figure of speech, Hazel. Yeah, it's very thoughtful. Odd-looking little sprig.
Let me have the note, Dan. I'm going back to the house and find out what this is all about.
One Man's Family, which comes to you Monday through Friday, is written by Harlan Ware and directed by Carlton E. Morse. In Chapter 29, Book 129, Young Man in Grave Danger. Frank Barton speaking. One Man's Family, winner of 46 national awards, now in its 26th year, is a Carlton E. Morse production and comes to you from California.
Just try Bactine when sunburn leaves skin inflamed and peeling. It helps take out the painful fire, gives soothing, cooling feeling.
One Man's Family, brought to you, transcribed, by Miles Laboratories, makers of Alka-Seltzer, Bactine, and many other fine, dependable pharmaceutical products. Hazel and Jack on the back steps.
Come here, Mr. Law Partner. I want to congratulate you.
Well, thanks, Hazel.
How does it feel to be a man of distinction?
About the only difference I've noticed is that I've got more responsibility and less cash.
So that's how it is with the Barbours today. I want to talk to you mothers about the meals you serve your family. Oh, I'm sure you're a good cook, and you enjoy fixing the foods your family likes best. But, you know, just giving your family the food they like to eat may not be enough. Your job is bigger than that, Mother. You must make sure they're getting all of the known essential vitamins they need as well. And you can do this by seeing that they take One-A-Day brand multiple vitamins. Yes, these quality vitamins by the makers of Alka-Seltzer will give the folks in your family the vitamin protection they should have for constant good health. One-A-Day brand multiple vitamins are easy and pleasant to take, low in cost, and excellent as protection against vitamin deficiency disease. Ask your druggist for them. One-A-Day brand multiple vitamins, the blue package with the big one. Chapter 6, Book 86. The day is waning as Henry Barbour comes up from his garden in his work clothes. He is pleasantly tired from his efforts and sits down on the back steps. The late sun is adding its color to his flowers, and here and there a shadow has fallen to underscore the vivid hues. Apparently, Henry approves of nature's collaboration with his handiwork, for he is nodding in satisfaction and chuckling to himself as he looks engrossedly at the prospect below him.
Yeah.
Well, Father.
Oh, Hazel, I didn't see you standing there.
I know you didn't. What are you doing? Admiring your garden?
Beautiful now, isn't it? See how the sun is just touching the tops of the flowers, eh?
It's lovely. Where's Mother?
She's in the house someplace.
I brought some snapshots we took of Pinky. I just picked them up at Mr. Jameson's drugstore. Dan took most of them, and they came out very well. You want to come in and see them?
Yeah.
I told Mother I'd bring them over as soon as they were finished. I've got some extra prints. I'll leave them for you.
Very good, very good. Go ahead, my dear.
Hi.
Huh?
Jeff just drove in next door. Hello.
How's the trip to San Diego?
Come here. I want to congratulate you. I haven't seen Jack since he was made a partner.
Oh, yeah, he's a full-fledged partner now, eh, Jack?
What's that, Dan?
Father was just boasting about your promotion.
Oh. Well, tell me, Hazel, how'd you find things in San Diego? Pinky and Admiral yet?
The first thing I want to do is to give you a big kiss of congratulations. Come here.
I thought everybody done that already.
Well, I haven't. We left for San Diego before I got to see you. Bend down here and be kissed, Mr. Law Partner.
Thanks, Hazel.
How does it seem to be a man of distinction?
Well, about the only difference I've noticed so far is that I've got more responsibility and less ready cash.
Oh, no.
The office staff, the rent, all that is part of Jack's worry now. Hey, my boy?
Sure is, Dan.
Come in the house. Hazel has some snapshots to show us.
Well, I haven't checked in at home yet. I think I'd better run along.
All right, Jack. I'll leave the pictures with Mother, and you can see them later.
Good. Pinky's okay, is he?
Oh, yes, he's quite the sailor man. He expects to be assigned to some kind of duty almost any day now. He said he'd requested submarine service.
Huh? Submarine?
Well, that's what he said.
Well, that's pretty rugged. You'll have to get a lot more training for that.
I know. I think he was trying to impress Dan and me. I don't really believe he'll go into that.
Of course, those submarine boys get a lot more pay. Maybe that's what Pinky had in mind.
That would influence him, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Leaving San Diego very soon. I don't let myself dwell on that too much. The thought of his going off to sea gives me cold shivers.
Yeah.
He seems so young somehow. He looked so little and boyish standing there waving at us as we left.
Yes.
Well, come on, Father, let's go in the house. I haven't much time left. I've got to get home. I left Margaret watching our dinner. It might be burned up by the time I get there. She gets on that phone, you know, and forgets everything.
I'll see you later.
Well, my boy. Go ahead, Hazel. No, wait, I'll get the door.
Bye, Jack. Say hello to Betty.
Okay.
Oh, hi, Paul.
Hi, Jack.
Wow, what'd you do, pick up a ride, Cliff?
Yeah.
Paul came by just as I got off the streetcar.
Yeah, good thing, I guess. He was dragging a little. How are you, Jack?
Hi, Paul. Wish I could time it out every night this way so I could get picked up. Walking home those last couple of blocks kind of get me.
I always keep my eye open for you, but we never seem to meet up, Cliff.
Well, of course, being a big partner now, you'll be keeping banker's hours before long. Knock off at 3 or 4 o'clock.
Oh, yeah?
Just the other way around, huh, Jack?
You're not kidding. Well, I gotta get through the hedge and report to my little wife. I'll see you guys later.
Okay, so long. Well,
Hmm?
Jack,
Getting to be a solid character, you know it?
Yeah, he is at that.
Partner in a big law firm. It's hard to believe, in a way.
Why?
Oh, I don't know. He's always been our kid brother, and here he is getting up in the world. Probably be a big success one of these days.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Funny how things turn out. If anybody told me a few years ago I'd be selling neckties at my age, I'd have thought he was crazy. Now look. Sure got a great future in front of me, and gosh, I'm getting on in years, Paul.
You got a long way to go before you catch me.
Oh, yeah, but it's different with you somehow.
What?
Oh, you've done something with your life, but here I am, just treading water. Why, do you realize it'll only be a question of a few years before I'll be a grandfather, probably?
What are you talking about? You got a son 13. That's a long way from being a grandfather. Be 9 or 10 years at least before Andy gets married.
Maybe I'll have more sense by the time I'm a grandfather. No kidding, though. Won't that be something? We're up there. Ooh, feel old as Methuselah.
Well, come on, Grandpappy.
Okay, you think it's funny. We'll both be great-uncles or great-uncles or whatever you call them inside of another year or so. I'll take a bet on that.
Oh? And who's to present us with our little grandniece or nephew, as the case may be?
Joan.
What? What gives you that idea?
Well, now, look, son, you can't tell me she isn't serious with this fellow she's been going with over there in Berkeley. Something is certainly going on. She's taking awful close over there, and in my book, that is love.
Isn't that gorgeous, Jim? See, the sun's turning the bay all gold. Oh, I just love looking down from the Berkeley hills like this.
Mm-hmm. The setting sun and music at the close. It's the last taste of sweets is sweetest last.
Go on. I like that.
Don't remember anymore, Joan.
What's it from?
Richard II, isn't it?
I don't know. You like Shakespeare?
I do, strangely enough. Sort of odd for a fellow in engineering to like something like that, I guess.
Oh, I don't think it's odd. I think it's nice.
Do you?
Yes. You know, Jim, you remind me of my Uncle Paul. Your tastes are a lot the same, and, well, I just know you're going to like each other.
He sounds like a grand guy from what you told me about him.
Oh, he is. He's so understanding and warm and sympathetic. If I had him come over here for dinner sometime, do you suppose you could possibly come?
Well, I don't think you can count on me, Joan.
You mean because of your wife?
Yes.
Why don't you tell me about her, Jim?
I will sometime. Have you told your Uncle Paul or anybody in your family that you were seeing a married man?
No, I haven't told anybody. Why should I?
It's silly of me to ask that. I know you well enough now to know that you wouldn't say anything.
It wouldn't be helped by talking about it. And I don't worry anymore that you don't love me. You do. I know you do.
Joan, I'm afraid we're going to have to go.
Oh, it's so lovely here on this hill. So peaceful.
The sun's almost gone. It'll be getting cold.
Are you saying that because you want to go?
It isn't that I want to, but I'm afraid I'll have to pretty quick now.
All right. You say when, and we will. I understand.
Joan.
Yes?
I was full of good intentions when I met you this afternoon. There were so many things I was going to tell you.
Tell me now.
Shall I?
Yes.
We mustn't see each other anymore.
Why?
I've tried to stay away from you. I've tried to put you out of my mind. I've avoided going to the library at the times when I knew you'd be there, but I always end up by coming back, looking for you, waiting for you.
If you didn't, I'd find you, Jim. I know every class you have. I know where you are practically every hour of the day. I know just how you look when you're taking notes in class. I can see the way you wrinkle your forehead a little when you're thinking. Where your hair's always kind of mussed and how you hold a fountain pen. Smudge of ink on your finger. I see you all the time. All day long, even when you're not with me. Night, when I go back to my apartment, I lose you. I try not to think of you then because you're with... Jim, you know how much I love you.
Joan, it's no good. We mustn't see each other anymore. You know that.
Oh, please don't. What? If I thought I wasn't going to be with you anymore, that would just be the end of everything, that's all.
What a heel I was not to have told you right from the very beginning, but what the situation was.
Do you think that would have made any difference? I loved you the very first moment I saw you. I mean it. You could have told me you were married or a criminal or anything, and I wouldn't have cared. And I don't care now.
But we've got to care, Joan. And it's much better that we end this now, before...
Before what?
I can't tell you how I blame myself for letting this get where it is. But the only way, the best way to make amends for my selfishness and thoughtlessness is to end it. Finally and definitely.
Jim, answer me one question.
Yes.
Do you love your wife?
Listen, Joan, I love you. Because I do. I don't want any harm to come to you. If we go on, it may.
The Barbours will be back in just a moment. For half an hour, Jack Barbour has been explaining the meaning of the word good to his little daughter, Mary Lou.
You understand now, don't you, honey?
Well, maybe. But why?
But I've just told you, Mary Lou.
Did you tell me why I couldn't say good, gooder, goodest?
I told you it's not right.
Is that a reason?
Of course it is. We don't say good, gooder, goodest, but we do say what? What did I just tell you?
Good, better, best.
Atta girl. How'd we get started on this anyway?
Because I said my dolly doesn't feel good, and I'm going to put her to bed.
No, well, honey. Your dolly doesn't feel well.
That's how we got started. That's what you said before.
Oh, well, we won't go over it again.
But I heard you say it just last night, too.
You heard me say what?
That you didn't feel good. And that's when Mama fixed you a glass of bubbles.
Oh, you mean the Alka-Seltzer for my headache. Well, that was certainly good.
You bet. Alka-Seltzer is always good for a headache. And here's how you can find out for yourself just how good it is. Get a package of Alka-Seltzer from your drugstore. And next time you feel miserable with a headache, take Alka-Seltzer. You'll be delighted with the fast, comforting relief it brings. Alka-Seltzer contains one of the world's most effective pain relievers, ready to go right to work, ready to bring you the relief you want. Remember, that's Alka-Seltzer for really fast, really effective headache relief. Here's the family again.
Come on, Joan. We've got to start back toward the campus.
When am I going to see you again?
I said it was dangerous. Did you understand?
Yes, I understood, Jim. When am I going to see you again?
Remember, friends, when a headache is cutting down your efficiency or making you feel droopy and irritable, take Alka-Seltzer for relief. Just drop 1 or 2 Alka-Seltzer tablets in a glass of water, let it fizz and bubble up, then drink that sparkling, refreshing solution. Alka-Seltzer contains one of the world's most effective pain relievers, and it's instantly ready to go to work to bring you the relief you need and want. Get Alka-Seltzer at any drugstore. Always keep Alka-Seltzer on hand for fast headache relief. Fast-acting headache relief. One Man's Family is brought to you every weekday night at this time, transcribed by Miles Laboratories, makers of Alka-Seltzer. Tomorrow, The Missing Ring, Chapter 7, Book 86. This is a Carlton E. Morse production, directed by Michael Raffetto.
The Railroad Hour presents Very Warm for May, tonight on NBC.
One Man's Family, brought to you by the makers of Chase and Sanborn Coffee and Bluebonnet Margarine. One Man's Family is dedicated to the mothers and fathers of the younger generation and to their bewildering offspring. Today we present the opening chapter of Book 65, entitled The Dying Fires of Europe. And now the author has a personal word for you. It will be given to you by Paul.
There's a custom of long standing on One Man's Family of giving an introductory preface at the beginning of each new book. This is not only the launching of a new volume, Book 65, but the beginning of a new year. And just as 1948 is a continuation of events which had their beginning in 1947, So this new book of the family is a continuation of events that had their roots in previous volumes. Radio is not like the novel with an opening chapter and a last chapter. It's more like time itself, without beginning or end. It's not unlike your own life, which is tied up with things and events, and a society which have their headwaters back in the far years before you were born, and which will continue on long after you are gone. That is radio. It is strange even to me, the author, to realize that there are young people 16 years old today who were yet unborn when one man's family was first heard on the air. That there are parents today who heard their first family show as small children, adolescents. That a whole generation has grown to maturity, and a second generation is well on its way, all within the lifespan of one man's family. I should be more cognizant of all this, perhaps inasmuch as marriage, birth, divorce, and death have been among the cast members who make up the characters of the Barbour family. But it is hard to realize how much water is passing under the bridge when you sit on the bank and keep your eyes fixed continually on one little eddy or whirlpool. And now, just for my own ears to hear their voices, I would like to have a roll call of all the people who have been with the show since its inception, which will be 16 years in April. Ken, will you do the honors?
Mother Barbour?
Yes, I'm here.
Henry Barbour?
Yes, yes.
Paul? Present. Hazel?
Yes, present.
Clifford?
I'm here.
And Jack?
Present and accounted for.
Thank you. There are others, of course, of equal importance to the show, but these are the 6 voices which read the very first words of the very first script 16 years ago. I have found wonderful satisfaction in them, as I know the great radio audience has by its never-ending friendliness and loyalty. And in 1958 and 1965, I know of no reason why we should not all yet be associated. End of author's preface.
Here's coffee with flavor as fresh and new as 1948. It's improved Chase and Sanborn, the most satisfying coffee you ever tasted. So taste it now. Yes, this year starts with new coffee delight, a new coffee experience, because our expert blenders have discovered a new combination of finer coffees. Only now is the flavor possibility of these richer coffees fully developed, fully realized, and only Chase and Sanborn gives you this inspired new combination. Taste it. As the man says, that first swallow is like money from home. And the lady who does the shopping may add that it's the richest, most flavorful coffee money can buy, and fresh. Every pound of the new Chase and Sanborn, with its flavor multiplied in the blending, is vacuum-packed as soon as it's perfectly roasted. No other container can possibly give you so much flavor, so much downright coffee satisfaction. Ask your grocer for improved Chase and Sanborn, the coffee sensation of 1948. Caught between laughter and irritation, the Barbour clan in Seacliff, San Francisco, is still putting up with Cousin Jedediah. They're torn between throwing him bodily off the premises and trying to absorb him into the family circle. Father Barbour says,
if he'd only settled down to minding his own business and stop calling me Hank, I could at least tolerate him.
Mother Barbour says,
Sometimes I'm amused, and sometimes I could shake him until his teeth rattle. He's never offered to leave, nor to pay 1 cent towards his upkeep. On the other hand, he's Johnny on the spot when I need an errand round or a household task done. And we certainly have room to spare now that so many of the children have homes of their own.
And so Cousin Jedediah stays on. That's in San Francisco, but far to the other side of the world, an unidentified, uncharted plane has been making a devious flight from Accra, Africa, northward. It came to rest in the dark of a moonless night in Istanbul, Turkey. It hesitates, only a breathing space, and then it cut back to Athens, Greece. Then a secret stop at Trieste, and finally swooped down on a runway outside of Nuremberg, Germany. It was not a large plane, as planes go today, and only 2 people with proper credentials were aboard. Paul Barbour was at the controls. Nicolette Moore was his companion. Having arrived, they reported to the proper American military authorities and received an assignment of quarters suitable to their purpose.
Suitable to our purpose. They could have had a little heat and still been suitable to our purpose.
You are not alone, Paul. All Europe is cold this winter.
Wasn't too cold in American military headquarters.
A lot of good we would accomplish living at military headquarters.
You know, Nicolette, I'm beginning to wonder if Patricia Baldwin's going to be worth it all, even if we ever do catch up with her.
You think we will not?
Well, what have we got to date?
Oh, you have been going too hard. You know, you are not fully recovered from the weakness of the shock and hurt and the explosion.
I'm just tired.
Of course. I did not know that you were going to pilot the plane from Accra. I thought you were meant to be an invalid passenger.
How many people are we supposed to let in on our manhunt?
Please, you sit in the chair with the blanket around you. I will make you some hot soup.
Out of what? I need my old shoes, and yours aren't big enough or fragrant enough for a really good soup.
Oh, no. Not old shoes. Why do you suppose I stopped at the military supply store and the Red Cross canteen?
By the way, did I ever tell you I had an adopted daughter?
Oh?
You're just saying Red Cross, recall?
There. I have the alcohol stove going. See, 4 cups of water with this packaged soup.
You're not listening to me.
But of course I'm listening. I mentioned Red Cross, and that made you think of your adopted daughter. Why?
Because she's a trained nurse with the Red Cross.
Oh? Where?
Here in American-occupied Germany. Munich, the last I heard.
But that is wonderful. Then you will see her.
You think so?
Well, no. No, perhaps not. Not until we have accomplished our business, at least. What is her name? Oh, this weather. There's some change since San Salvador and Accra, no?
Yeah, your hands are blue. It's cold.
But this is the kind of weather I have known most of my life. What is your daughter's name?
Teddy Barbour. That is, she was officially adopted, but since she's out in the world on her own, I suspect she's returned to her family name, Teddy Lawton.
Oh? Why would she do that?
Well, don't we all want to return to our true selves eventually?
That is a very wise observation. No matter what we have been or accomplished, in the end, we secretly wish to return to our true selves. The coffee is bubbling. The soup is almost ready.
Hold your hand over the flames and get some color back in them.
Yes, this is a poor German cottage indeed. The wind comes under the door. The frost creeps in under the windowsills.
Well, we asked to be assigned a place among the working class in the suburbs.
I wonder why. Do you have any ideas?
Well, I suppose a person who's to report to us will look conspicuous in any other surroundings, huh?
When is he to report?
That we don't know.
We simply sit here and wait. Is that it?
That's it. Somebody knows where Patricia Baldwin is, and somebody's ready to talk for a prize. The thing that titillates my imagination is the fact that Patricia Baldwin was a nurse in this very town of Nuremberg before she began her trip home to the United States. She apparently was kidnapped off the boat at Accra and returned to this general area.
Here, the coffee is hot.
That's fragrant, too.
Yes. With coffee and the soup, we will be warm and comfortable. Then our minds will be clear to think.
Patricia Baldwin, an army nurse in Nuremberg. Teddy, a Red Cross nurse in Munich. Nicolette, do you suppose they knew each other?
So? And suppose they did?
I don't know. But I think I'm going to have Teddy brought here undercover for questioning.
Out in his beloved garden on the seacliff edge of San Francisco Bay, Father Barbour had just completed a flower bed for early spring planting, and is at the moment on his knees setting out the delicate young plants.
There you are, you cantankerous, beloved old character. Looked everywhere for you.
Did you indeed?
Looked in the library.
Yes, sir.
In your bedroom.
Did you indeed?
Looked in the cellar.
I wasn't there.
Looked behind the furniture.
What would I be doing behind the furniture?
Don't tell me, Hank. I know what a slippery character you are when you're hiding.
Hiding, indeed.
I know what a slick character you are. But I found you.
Yeah.
Got a good nose.
There's plenty of it.
Nose like a bloodhound.
Yeah, also a vocal quality.
Like a lame-brained bloodhound.
Why don't you go over in the vacant lot down the street and talk to Hank and Pinky?
Who?
Hank and Pinky.
Who are they?
You know Hank and Pinky.
Do I?
They're Hazel's twins. They're down in the vacant lot with some other boy. Now, why don't you go talk to them?
What for?
Let her go.
You're a character, Hank. You know that, a dim-wit character if there ever was one.
Yes.
You know what I got here?
No.
You know what I got here under my arm?
Didn't you hear me say no?
Well, sit back on your hutches and have a look.
I've got to get these plans in before night.
Memory book full of picture postcards.
Huh? Picture postcards?
Picture postcards from all over the lame-brained country.
You collect picture postcards?
From all over the lame-brained world. Been collecting them for years. Look, there's one from Sacramento.
Yeah. That's up the road here, about 90 miles.
Picture of the M Street Bridge over the Sacramento River, it says underneath.
Yeah, very instructive, I'm sure.
Bridge is open to let a boat through.
Yeah.
Pretty soon it'll close to let traffic through.
By George, Cousin Jedi, I just had an idea. You know who'd get a lot of pleasure out of your memory book?
Who?
Clifford.
No.
Yes, he would.
No.
I know better. He's in the library inside writing a letter. Now, take it in and show it to him.
Well, now, that's mighty pleasant of you, Henry. Mighty pleasant.
Go ahead. Take it into Clifford.
Gladly.
Yes, you can probably spend the whole afternoon with Clifford if you work at it.
Oh, excuse me, Cliff. Are you busy?
Oh, just writing a letter. I didn't hear you come in.
I'm on my way up to the sewing room to see Mother. Go right ahead. Don't let me bother you.
No, don't run off. How are things over at your place?
Oh, Daniel's down at his office. Hank and Pinky are out at the vacant lot, and Margaret's over sitting with Jack and Betty's daughters.
So you were free to pay a call, huh?
Mm-hmm. But don't tell me you've moved back over to the family home from Nicky and Claudia's.
No, only this afternoon Claudia was giving a bridge party or something just as horrible, so Nicky fled to the Sky Ranch, and I invited myself over here.
Yes, I know. Well, you go on with your letter. I've got half an hour to spend with Mother.
Well, drop by for a minute on your way out.
All right.
Let's see. And as my young son is soon to be adopted by my sister and her husband, and I am footloose and without obligation.
Oh, there you are, Clifford.
Oh, trapped.
There you are, Clifford. Right in the middle of a letter. I'll bet a sugar cookie.
Right on the nose of first guess.
Right in the middle of a half-wit letter. I'll bet a Jim Dandy.
Check.
I'll pull up a chair right up alongside so as we can be comfortable.
Well, hey, what about my letter?
Always believe in comfort. Makes a man live longer.
Well, you think that's necessary?
Makes a man live longer. Comfort's a great thing.
We're not repeating ourselves, are we?
Always believed in it.
Look, couldn't we carry on now?
My father always believed in it.
Yeah, I know, and your grandfather always believed in it.
Clifford, he was there.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
We wouldn't be getting in that rut, would we? What have you got there?
Old memory book. Picture postcard.
Oh, yeah?
From everywhere. Look, here's one from Peoria. Here's one from Yellowstone. Here's one from Schenectady, New York.
Schenectady.
Oh, they got one from there, too?
Let it lay.
And here's one from Bangor, Maine. Kind of tore at the bottom. Says, famous old something house of Bangor, Maine. Too bad it's tore. Famous old house of Bangor, Maine.
Well, how about Cliff House? Famous old Cliff House.
Could be, maybe, except there ain't no cliffs.
Hey, how did you happen to come in here and show me your memory book, anyway?
Your father sent me.
Dad told you to come in here?
Busy himself, but said you'd be mighty pleased.
He did he? Look, Cousin Jediah, you know who would be awfully interested in your memory book?
Who's that?
I just saw my brother Jack pass by the window.
Jack? Who's he?
Oh, you know, Jack and Betty. They live just across the hedge.
Fine couple, fine couple.
Yeah, well, why don't you take your book over there? They'd love it.
Course they would. Course they would.
Well, that's a good idea. Now, take it over, huh?
Gladly. You're a good boy, Clifford. A good boy.
It's a dirty trick. And Jack's a lawyer. He ought to be able to handle any situation.
Hello, who's that?
Hey, don't tell me we've got a babysitter again.
It's only me, Uncle Jack.
Oh, hello, Margaret. Where's your Aunt Betty?
Oh, she's over to Aunt Claudia's to a coffee klatch.
Oh, what?
Well, that's what Aunt Claudia calls it. Most people call them tea parties, but Aunt Claudia calls it a coffee klatch.
Mm-hmm. Hazel over there, too?
Well, no, they're going to play bridge, and Mom says she'd rather lose an arm than have to play bridge. That's the way Grandmother feels, too.
Yeah, I know. Well, the daughter's all down for the afternoon?
Mm-hmm. I came over early and helped Aunt Betty tuck them in. They'll wake up pretty soon. Aren't you home early?
I had to see a client out in this neighborhood, so I just didn't go back to the office. Now, what's in the refrigerator?
Hey, get into anything.
Well, why not? Celery.
You better stay out of that.
Why? It's my ice box.
Maybe Aunt Betty was planning to have that celery for dinner. Uncle Jack, not that sausage.
Why not? It was left over from breakfast.
But I heard Aunt Betty say she was going to make some meat sauce and spaghetti and have that sausage for tonight.
Want some?
I should say not.
Just what a man needs after a hard day at the office. Better have some.
And how do you tell Aunt Betty I got into her refrigerator? I should say not.
It's my refrigerator, too. Besides, I'll take all the blame.
You say it's yours, but it isn't.
Hey.
Not really.
Well, I like that. Who bought it?
Yes, but who keeps it clean? Who keeps it full of food? Who has to live with it?
Hey, you're not putting your coat on, are you?
Yes, and you owe me 50 cents for staying with Elizabeth, Sharon Ann, and Janie and Mary Lou.
Aren't you going to wait till Betty gets back?
And have a look in her refrigerator? No, sir.
Don't want to be here when the storm breaks, huh?
Oh, no. Could I have my 50 cents, please?
I really shouldn't pay you. It's supposed to come out of Betty's household money. However, let's see. Quarter, 3 nickels, 4, 9 pennies. Here you are. I'll deduct it out of Betty's household allowance next week.
But that's only 49 cents.
49? 50? What's a penny between blood relatives?
I don't usually get 49 cents.
Well, look, I turned my pockets inside out. You stripped me down to the last penny.
Honest?
If you don't believe me, you try to raise $3 on a rising young attorney's pay.
But what about tomorrow?
Payday.
Oh.
Boy, is that a welcome sound. Payday.
Oh, there's Aunt Betty.
Well, get the stuff back in the refrigerator.
Why don't you put the dishes in the sink? They're empty.
Hand me the cream pitcher.
It's empty.
Never mind. There. Go answer, will you?
But Uncle Jack,
I'll be sitting here casually looking at the afternoon paper.
Well, all right. I'll let her in on my way out. She must have forgot to take her key with her.
Just say I'm home. Don't say anything else.
Eating all the dinner up in the middle of the afternoon. Oh, it's you.
Good afternoon, Jack.
Cousin Jediah, I'm not Jack.
Oh, of course you're not. You're little Claudia.
Oh, I'm Margaret.
Claudia Margaret. Give me time, I'll get it right. Claudia Margaret. Beautiful child.
Did you want to see Uncle Jack?
Gladly, gladly.
Well, he's in the kitchen. I'm going home.
No.
Well, if you want Uncle Jack, he's in the kitchen. I've got to go now, no matter what you think about it.
Goodbye, Claudia Margaret. Goodbye, little girl. Goodbye. Sweet child. Now, where's that young fellow Jack hiding? Hello, Jack. Come on out, wherever you are.
Hey, Cousin Jediah, for the love of Mike.
Hiding on me. Come on out, wherever you are.
Hey, quiet, will you? You want to wake up all the daughters?
Somebody asleep?
Yeah, my 3 daughters. Come on in the kitchen where we can close the door.
Gladly, gladly.
There, that's better. Now you can talk normal.
What are your daughters doing?
Well, you don't have to talk in a whisper.
I got my voice slipped down under low, and I can't shift them back my... There she is. Guess my throat gears are kind of rusty.
Throat gears?
Certainly throat gears. How else could a person shift his voice from whisper to ordinary talk to yelling? Gears in the throat, that's how.
Pull up a chair. You don't mind sitting out here in the kitchen, do you?
Don't mind it a bit. Not a bit of it.
What's that book you got?
Memory book.
Oh?
Clifford said you'd be mighty interested.
Who?
Clifford. Full of picture postcards from all parts of the world.
Yeah?
Tacoma, Washington.
Uh-huh.
Pittsburgh, PA.
Yeah?
Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Oh, Baton Rouge.
Bismarck, North... What's say?
Baton Rouge, not Baton Rouge.
You were there?
No, as a matter of fact, I never
Baton
was.
Rouge, Louisiana. Bismarck, North Dakota. Omaha, Neb.
Omaha what?
Neb, N-E-B, Neb.
I never heard of a state in the Union called Neb.
Yeah. There it is, right on the postcard. Omaha, N-E-B, Neb.
Wouldn't be an abbreviation for Nebraska, would it?
What's that you say?
I said it wouldn't be an abbreviation.
Why, of course it would, son. Of course it would. Such ignorance. Naturally, it's a shortcut for Nebraska. Look here at this picture of the State House at Helena, Montana. Noble pile of bricks. And 2x4s.
Cousin Jediah, have you shown this to my mother?
Who?
My mother. You know, Fanny Barbour.
Oh, sweet woman, Fanny. Beautiful character. Lovely woman.
Yeah, but have you been up to her sewing room and shown this memory book to her?
No, I ain't, and that's a fact, Jack.
Well, I'll bet you'll get some real appreciation out of her.
You think so?
If I were you, I'd get right back over to the family home and get to her before she has to start dinner.
A fine woman, Fanny.
Sure, but you better hurry.
Gladly. I got a postcard from Tallahassee, Florida. That'll tickle her to death. Picture of a crocodile sunning himself in a swamp.
Here comes Cousin Jedediah, Mother. I wondered what you were watching. It was just a beautiful view out your sewing room window. It always intrigues me. Goodness, Cousin Jedediah seems in a tearing hurry. He's the busiest busybody you'll likely find in many a day. And yet he's sincere and kindly about everything. I don't think he'd ever hurt anyone intentionally. Well, you know about the road to hell being paved with good intentions. You suppose he's just settled down here to stay indefinitely? I haven't the faintest idea.
Fanny! Whoa, Fanny!
Uh-oh.
You might as well answer, Fanny. I know you're up in the sewing room.
We're about to be invaded. Yes, Jedediah, I'm here.
Hiding out on me. But you can't hide from Jedediah ex-Barbour.
We've been here all the time.
Oh, you're here, Hazel.
I'm afraid I am.
Glad to have you visit us.
Oh?
Glad to have you. Come over and see us anytime. That right, Fanny? Glad to have her come over and see us anytime.
Of course, Jedediah. Cousin Jedediah, what's that you have under your arm?
Memory book. Full of picture postcards.
Really?
Postcards from everywhere.
I didn't know you collected postcards. I suppose acquaintances sent them.
Yeah, acquaintances sent them.
How nice.
Friends sent them.
I see.
Enemies sent them.
What are you doing corresponding with your enemies?
Them are the blank spaces.
Oh?
The ones I sent back.
Indeed. I don't see any from out of continental United States.
Yeah, continental United States. Every place.
I say you don't see me.
Every place all over the world. Tallahassee, Florida, Portland, Oregon, just to Maine.
It's too bad we don't know where Paul is.
Who?
Paul. He's somewhere out of the country, and if we could get in touch with him, we could have him send you cards from many strange places.
Who?
Paul.
Never heard of him.
Oh, of course you have. He's my eldest brother.
You mean Fanny's got more children yet?
Well, you've never seen Paul, Cousin Jedediah.
Well, fetch him out. Let's have a look at him.
We can't. Paul's on Secret Service work in some closely guarded part of the world for the United States government.
No.
I'm afraid he is. Paul was hoping to be back for Christmas. It must be more serious than he thought.
Oh, are you as cold as I am, Nicolette?
We are each rolled up in 2 blankets, which is all we have. Tonight is dropping well below zero.
You're not shivering the way I am.
You are recovering from an injury. You have not your full strength back. Besides this, I am a daughter of cold and hunger. I am hardened to bitter weather.
The poet who said the fires of Europe are going out one by one knew what he was talking about, huh?
He knew.
I lie here feeling as though all the firewood in the world had been consumed, as though there was no more coal, no more gas, no more fuel oil.
Yes. So far as you and I are concerned tonight, my friend, we might as well be lying on the floor of a windy cave, back in the dark ooze of the Neanderthal man.
The whole of Europe shivering in its thin blankets. It's savage. It's uncivilized.
For you and me, it's only an interlude, Paul. We will accomplish our purpose here and return to the land of plenty. But all those others, what of them?
How can anyone swallow his food or sleep peacefully in his bed at night thinking about it?
Nothing but this to look forward to, so long as they care to live.
Live? This isn't even existing. I wonder if this is the sort of thing Teddy's been putting up with.
You got word through to her? She's coming here?
The military's taking care of it.
I noticed when he mentioned the name Patricia Baldwin, a blank, puzzled look came over the commander's face.
Yes, I noticed.
Well, if you bring your adopted daughter, Teddy... Shh, listen. Someone is outside the window.
Why knock at the window instead of the door?
Never mind, we have a visitor already. A woman.
Woman?
No one but a woman would tap on the window with her fingertips just that way.
Here, get me out of this blanket. That must be Teddy.
Is polishing up his courtroom technique with Cliff on the witness stand.
Now, Mr. Barbour, I want you to tell the court, in your own words, exactly what happened on the morning in question.
Well, I lifted the cup to my lips.
What was in that cup?
Oh, the new Chesterton Sanborn coffee.
Ah.
You can say that again.
Had you ever tasted this new blend before? I think carefully.
I never had.
This was your very first swallow?
Yes, it was.
Well, Mr. Barbour, perhaps you'll be kind enough to tell the court what happened then. What were your sensations? What did you think as the improved Jason Sanborn greeted your palate and tickled your taste buds?
Well, that's very difficult to put into words.
Was it like getting money from home?
Why, yes, come to think of it, like an unexpected check in the mail.
You were surprised.
I was delighted.
You were pleasantly shocked.
I was amazed.
You never knew coffee could be that good.
I did not. It was a new coffee experience.
Gentlemen of the jury, get a pound of the new Jason Sanborn. Make the coffee and taste it. Our case rests on that.
Well, the verdict is already in from millions of homes. The new Jason Sanborn is the most satisfying coffee you ever tasted. Every pound is vacuum packed, so you get it at its best and freshest. Ask your grocer for improved Jason Sanborn, the new coffee sensation. You've just heard Chapter 1, Book 65 of One Man's Family, written and produced under the direction of Carlton E. Morse for the makers of Jason Sanborn Coffee and Bluebonnet Margarine. Chapter 2, entitled Teddy Barbour After 2 Years, will come to you next week at this same hour. All through the new year, it will pay you well to remember this.
Remember the letters M-M-E for flavor, nutrition, economy. Bluebonnet Margarine gives all three. Flavor, nutrition, economy.
And what a wealth of nutrition you get in Bluebonnet. No other spread for bread is richer in food energy, richer in vitamin A the whole year round. No wonder Bluebonnet is so good for growing youngsters, the whole family. For here's what you get in only 3 half-ounce pats of Country Sweet Bluebonnet. As much food energy as a medium lamb chop. As much precious vitamin A as you get in 3 glasses of milk. Or as much vitamin A as you get in 3 fresh eggs. Plus vitamin E and other food essentials. Get Bluebonnet tomorrow, made by the makers of Fleischmann's Yeast. This week, you save up to 50 cents a pound when you buy Bluebonnet instead of the expensive spread. And Country Sweet Bluebonnet is rich in nutrition, rich in energy.
Buy Bluebonnet, yes, sirree. Flavor, nutrition, economy.
Family comes to you from California.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
One Man's Family, winner of 47 national awards, a Carlton E. Morse creation. One Man's Family, now in its 27th year, is dedicated to the mothers and fathers of the younger generation and to their bewildering offspring. Chapter 32, Book 133 of the Barbour family saga. Today, wedding day in the afternoon. For well over an hour, the well-informed Mrs. Emily Stewart, with mother-of-pearl opera glasses ready for instant action, has been sitting beside her front window surveying Seacliff Drive as she chatters with an unexpected luncheon guest, one Ross Farnsworth. This incident, along with other complicating factors, has provided Jack Barbour with a dreary period of acute frustration, broken at last by the ringing of the telephone in his living room.
Yes, hello?
Jack, Nicky's here now.
Oh, thanks, Pa. I'll be right over.
He hastens out the back door, hurtles into his car, and with a last look at Emily's window, drives swiftly 6 blocks straight down to his sister Claudia's, where he meets with another frustration and finds as he goes in the front door that he will be unable to speak freely.
Yes, I told your mother, Claudia.
Oh, no. Claude, where's Nicky?
After all, since it's a February wedding, it is better to have it over here. My garden couldn't have produced such an abundance of flowers if I'd planned a year.
Pardon me, Dad. Jack? Oh, there you are.
Hi, where's Nicky?
I'll get him. He's bringing in the wedding gifts. Excuse me.
Yes. Oh, your hair is on end.
It's not too surprising.
Oh, anything wrong?
Oh, the usual wedding day hassle with a few new ones added.
Ross Farnsworth still sitting there in the window with Emily Stewart waiting for 4 o'clock?
Yep, still there.
On the stroke of 4, he'll go over and harass Joan on her wedding day.
Well, Dad, the court gave him rights of visitation. Nothing you can do about that.
I'll tell you why he's at Emily's. He's consumed with curiosity about Raymond Borden. Emily will be a fountain of information. Insanely jealous, that's what he is.
I imagine any divorced man is jealous of his successor.
I'm sorry. Claudia said you called over an hour ago.
Hi, Nicky. Yeah, a couple items I'd like to go over.
And, Dad,
Huh?
may I have your advice out here? Will you come with me?
Yes, very well. Excuse me, please.
Surely.
Yeah, sure.
I'll give you some advice right now, Claudia. When there's something I'm not to know, there's no need to work out elaborate stratagems to get me out of the room. Let's simplify it. Whistle. I'll go.
Dad, don't be ridiculous. Now, what do you think about blocking off this entrance?
Let me close the door. I don't want to get people alarmed, but Ross Farnsworth has a gun with him.
How do you know?
Sharon. She was looking over the push buttons in Ross's car. There's a blue automatic in the glove compartment.
Wouldn't that be carrying concealed weapons?
Yeah.
Well, then, the police...
Oh, now wait. Police, reporters, morning papers, and headlines.
Oh.
Ex-husband arrested with gun at scene of Seacliff wedding. You'd have a field day with that one.
All right. Well, what do we do? Steal it?
Well, I'd have got it before now, but Ross and Emily are sitting right in the...
Boy, Iverson with his hard heart. Oh, hi, Uncle Nicky. Uncle Jack.
Oh, Pinky, hello there.
Came over to see if there's anything I can do. Where's Aunt Claudia?
Wait a minute. Sir? Still looks young and nimble enough for a bit of thievery, wouldn't you say, Nicky?
Thievery.
Oh, Pinky, I heard someone come in. Hello there. You're up early.
You'll have to excuse him, Claude.
I came over to see if there's something I can do, and I guess there is.
Yeah, he's going into conference with me on the back porch. Oh, Dad, I didn't see you.
Yes. Traffic is building up. Well, Pinky, you're up early.
Hi, Grandfather. Well, what do you want, Uncle Jack?
Let's find a sanctuary somewhere.
Yeah.
Dad, tell Nicky what you just told me. That wonderful phrase, paranoidal overtones, you know?
Oh, it sounds alarming.
Oh, yes, Nicholas. I quoted a phrase of Paul's which came popping back into my mind. At the time Ross first deserted Joan, Paul called him a borderline psychotic with paranoidal overtones.
Isn't that descriptive? Takes care of everything.
Well, it has a frighteningly clinical side.
Yes, I was saying to Claudia, what other words could be used to describe a man who leers and boasts of his skill with pistols? I'd have him thrown in jail. Call it prime prevention.
Well, there's one difficulty, Father Barbour. His traits are only by implication. The police can't arrest a man because his former in-laws consider him unstable and assume that he may go berserk. And as Jack points out, you call in officials and you also call in the press. And we've had more than enough of that.
Nicky?
Yes, Jack, I'm right here.
Pinky will run that errand for us.
Why not? I came over here looking for something to do.
We'll see you later.
You want a car?
Oh, mine's out in front. Come along, Pink.
See you.
I'll go out with you. I'll get the door.
Yeah. Do you know what they're up to?
No, I really don't, Dad.
Curious?
Are you?
Certainly. So are you. They are trying not to worry us. Only makes it worse. Yes, I will match your $10 contribution to the community chest that I find out before you do.
Do you think that's fair? You've had so much more practice.
Bet? Yes or no?
Yes.
Shake hands. You're right. They have forced me into deductive reasoning. This has something to do with Ross Farnsworth and a gun. You mark my words.
We'll return in just a moment to One Man's Family.
There are many isms in the world of today, some good, some bad. But there is one ism there can never be enough of, humanitarianism. Here's a little episode illustrating how a United States Air Force sergeant and his wife combined a bit of humanitarianism with Americanism, and how, even though handicapped by a language barrier, their efforts worked out very well. It all happened on a dingy street in Fukuoka, Japan. A Japanese couple suddenly dashed out into the street, the woman clutching a baby in her arms. The couple signaled frantically, but the traffic flowed by, ignoring their efforts for help. Finally, one car came to a stop. The occupants were Tech Sergeant Oliver A. Morris and his wife, out to enjoy a late afternoon and evening off duty. What moved Sergeant Morris to stop? Later he found that hard to explain, unless perhaps it just seemed the human thing to do, for neither he nor his wife knew any Japanese. Yet those pathetic figures in the street somehow conveyed great distress and urgency. Sergeant Morris sensed there was something to be done and in a hurry. Much later he learned the baby had been seized with convulsions. The parents had rushed to a small hospital nearby, and its only doctor was out. They knew of another physician a mile and a half away, and were trying to flag down a taxi when Sergeant Morris came along. The airman bundled them into his car and sped off in their search for a doctor,
whom they finally succeeded in locating. When the spasms of the baby were finally checked, the woman looked up with brimming eyes and said, as an interpreter translated, "My husband and I, we have been afraid of Americans before. Now we are glad to know such fine people." It cost the Morrises much of the carefree evening they had previously planned, but their unselfish actions towards that Japanese family brought a feeling of goodwillism that will never be forgotten. Sergeant Morris and his wife also gave all of us a thought to remember. We are Americans. As we go, so goes America.
It's 40 minutes later. Ross Farnsworth's car is still parked at the curb outside Emily Stewart's. The front curtains, which had been drawn aside, are now back in place, but figures can be seen in the background. Jack and his brother-in-law, Nicholas Lacey, waiting in the front hall at the family home, are becoming impatient. Nicky glances at the grandfather clock.
Where is the lad?
Still can't see him. It's my guess he got into the car from this side while we were coming up the back steps. He's afraid to move.
What would think his instructions?
Get the gun, that's all.
I'll take full responsibility if anything goes wrong.
There'll be enough trouble to go around. We'll all be sharing it.
Fanny!
Oh, Dad, she's not around. Let's go in the library. Here in the library, Nicky's with me. Come on in.
I once asked Claudia if she couldn't answer, why do you still keep things from the old gentleman, force of habit?
Well, he somehow adds to the general confusion. We'd be slowed down by a debate on ethics.
Yes, I know. He's thorough, but he's sound.
Well, occasionally you don't have time to be thorough.
What is Pinky up to?
Where did you see him?
He moved so fast I couldn't be sure. I thought I saw him leaping across the street from Emily Stewart's.
Going where?
Into your house, I thought. Does he know you're in here?
I guess not. Look out the window, Nicky. Is he over there?
No. Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. Here he comes, through the hedge.
Here?
Now, I'll go let him in.
The door isn't locked, Jack. Jack?
Sir?
What is going on? Why don't you tell me? I'd like to help.
Well, Dad, you tell him, Nicky. Oh, Pinky, you're in the library.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Wow. How long was I over there?
We were told Ross is carrying a weapon in his car.
Yes, no surprise to me.
Well, they were both sitting in the front, well, right there in the front window. So I waited to duck across. Then, when I got in the car, I didn't dare move. I had to scrunch way down and wait. Brother, every time I peeked out, they were watching the street.
Where's the gun?
It wasn't there, Uncle Jack.
Oh, I say.
No, sir. Gloves and a box of bullets, but no gun. After Sharon saw it there, he probably remembered and went out and got it. So he must have it with him.
And at 4 o'clock he will call at Jones' house with a gun in his pocket. Reporters be hanged. Jack, Nicholas, get on the phone. Let's call the police.
The Barbours in just a moment.
This is Jim Amici. Are you from Alabama? In the year 1540, Hernando de Soto and his band of treasure seekers were the first white men to look upon the part of the New World which is now the state of Alabama. In the more than 400 years since de Soto and his men made their exploration, Alabama has grown to a state with a population of more than 3 million people. It's become the leading heavy industry state in the southern part of the United States. Birmingham, its principal manufacturing center, is called the Pittsburgh of the South. Alabama is a leading producer of lumber, marble, petroleum, and dolomite. Its farmlands produce cotton, corn, hay, and sweet potatoes. Alabama, the 22nd state to join the Union, has contributed much to the heritage of America. In the years ahead, Alabama will add much to America's future.
In the library, Jack tosses a glance at Nicky as if to ask if he's satisfied. Minutes have slipped away, and the situation has entered the predicted state of confusion.
I say commit Ross for observation. At least you'd have him locked up during the wedding.
And if he isn't psychotic, he can sue you for the gold fillings in your teeth.
May I come in?
Sure, big debate. Everybody will.
I want Ross locked up before he takes it into his head to harm the children.
You're a little late, Dad. He's driving into Jones' driveway right this minute.
Well, excuse me.
I'll go with you.
Hey, wait, I'm coming too.
Shut the door, Pinky.
Huh?
Well, what's all that? Why don't you know?
Certainly I know. Certainly I know. I'll collect later. You owe $10 to charity. Jack, Nicholas, I'll talk to Ross while you call the police. Yes, wait, let me handle this.
One Man's Family, which comes to you Monday through Friday, is written by Harlan Ware and directed by Carlton E. Morse. This program has been selected to be heard by our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. In Chapter 33, Book 133, Wedding Day at 4 p.m., Frank Barton speaking. One Man's Family, winner of 47 national awards, now in its 27th year, is a Carlton E. Morse production and comes to you from California.
One Man's Family has come to you through the worldwide facilities of the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.
One Man's Family, brought to you, transcribed by Miles Laboratories, makers of Alka-Seltzer, Nervine, and many other fine, dependable pharmaceutical products. Overheard on the side porch at the Sky Ranch as Henry Barbour tries to break up a gossip session.
Yes, I'm going down to my hammock for a little while. If anyone cares to join me, I'll be there at my hammock.
I guess they didn't hear you, Grandfather.
Yeah, that's where I'll be, at my hammock.
And so, with 2 books and a magazine under his arm, Henry trudges off alone to his hammock. Authorities don't agree on the number of hours of sleep the average person needs each night, but they will agree whether it's 5, 6, 8 hours, sleep is very important. Of course, you know this because on the nights when you sleep like a top, you always seem to feel on top the next day. But there are times when jumpy, on-edge nerves won't let you sleep. These are the times to take Miles Nervine. That's Miles Nervine, friends, a fine product that has been used by thousands to help them relax and get to sleep. You'll find Miles Nervine ever so soothing and effective in helping you to relax and let you sleep. Try it next time nervous tension keeps you awake. Yes, get Miles Nervine from your druggist right away. Effervescent tablets or liquid. Follow the label. Avoid excessive use. Remember, that's Miles Nervine to help relieve nervous tension so you can enjoy good, sound sleep.